Just touched down, back on road. Counting money, man, you know how it goes. Hit the VIP and tell my strike a pose. Hop in mode. Just touched down, back on road. Counting money, man, you know how it goes. Hit the VIP and tell my to strike a pose. Hop in mode.
Today's episode of the Barcode Podcast 414 is sponsored by Tony B's Steak Chips, beef jerky that crunches like a chip and tastes like a 5-star steak. Use promo code The Barcode for 25% off at eatsteakchips.com.
Yo, coming to the Barcode Podcast, man. This is a very special person, especially in my life. Been knowing him for a long time, man, and you know, he used to get on my ass, man, on the court, but I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And I got to give you your flowers. You know how much I care about you, man, but we got Hamilton High School alumni, the University of North Dakota State alumni. We have a mentor, and we had a current head varsity coach for the boys basketball team, Washington High School. Y'all give it up for Freddie Riley, man. Thank you for coming to the Barcode Podcast, man. How you doing,
Man, doing good, nephew, man. Doing good. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, oh, for sure, man. You come on now. I would have felt funny doing this platform and not have you on here, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that I want to know, man. So yeah, but before we get into the basketball stuff, I want to do just a few true false questions. You know,
okay.
Test your head. All right, here we go. A snail can sleep up to 3 months.
Oh, snail. I'm gonna say true.
It's false, They can sleep up to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you never too old to learn, man.
That's true.
You never too old to learn. You just taught me something. I'm gonna get my son with that question.
Yeah, you got to do it. You know, it's never too late to learn. I learn every day. Yeah. All right, next one. Nearly 3% of the ice in Antarctica glaciers is penguin urine.
Oh, wow. You hit me with some deep ones, nephew. Whew. I'm gonna say true.
That's true, baby. How disgusting is that, though? But
it's a lot of penguins out there, man. A lot of penguins and polar bears, you know, so that's possible. I had to go with the yes.
Yeah, that's definitely true, man. Last one, there is a world championship for throwing mobile phones.
Okay. Hey, this is anything is possible, you know, in the world. So I ain't put nothing by nobody.
What you gonna say?
I'm trying to think it out. But like I said, anything is possible. I ain't put nothing by nobody. So I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, it's true too. Hey, listen, man. When I researched this and I seen it, it's like I almost was shocked, but I wasn't too shocked because I'm like, dude, the world crazy. Like I was watching the Olympics a couple years ago, and they got a little competition of people that walk fast. You know what I'm saying? So after seeing that, man, I'm like, oh, I gotta ask people this to see what their reaction is. But you got that right,
Think about this, nephew. Like the Guinness Book of World Records always trying to, update and do new inventions and stuff. So if people could come up with something that's creative and nobody have ever done it before, hey, it's possible it could be done, especially in this day and time. So I don't even put it by nobody no more.
Yeah, exactly, man. But like I said, thank you for participating in that. Now we about to get in the real deal. The first thing I'm gonna ask you, I want to know about your upbringing. You know, I know we from, Milwaukee. You've been around for a long time, but I want to know a little bit about your upbringing and who influenced you to play basketball.
Well, man, listen, I was raised by a single parent, man. You know, for at least the first 12 years of my life. It was just my mom and me and my 3 sisters. And moving from place to place from 25th and Center to 36 and Hadley, or 34th at Hadley to 12th in Cleveland, you know, then eventually settling into Westline housing projects. It was us for a long period of time. You know, so and actually we lived actually on what's that, 6 in Vienna, 6 in Vienna as well too. So I you know, before 12 years old, I kind of lived a little part of each side of town in Milwaukee. And you know, young growing up, you try to find yourself. Even on Hopkins, we lived right off Hopkins as well. But it was me and my mom and my sisters for a long period of time. And when we moved to Westline housing projects, I at 12 years old had the opportunity to meet a very special man that became very instrumental in my life, and then the development of me growing into the man that I am, and that was Bobby Ricardo. My stepfather came along, I think, when I was probably 13. And you know, at the time when your stepdad come into your life, you don't really accept him right away, you know, and that's just, you know, you kind of guarded and kind of protecting the house, you know, worried about your mom and sisters and stuff like that. So, you know, I didn't embrace it right away. But as the years went on, I seen that he was really down for our family and was very supportive in my mom and my sisters and myself. And, you know, he helped guide me, give me good advice, along with Bobby Ricardo, and, you know, the upbringing, and created my morals and values that I live by in my life.
Yeah.
You know, as I gradually got older, you're talking about 13, 14 years old, I started meeting some of my other mentors in my life that became an impact as well, like Mark Wade, Daryl Banks, Will Wade, Vic Barnett, you know, my coach in high school, Jim Jones. You know, these guys began to be, you know, pillars for me, and guiding me and making great decisions that kept me from being a product of my environment.
Yeah.
And, you know, being hard-headed at sometimes, even though the advice was given, you know, I still was fighting it sometimes because of the friends I was connected with. And it's some of the same issues that these young men are growing up with right now: loyalty to your friends. Everybody in our community or our neighborhoods that we grew up in, we have a sense of loyalty to them.
Yep.
And sometimes that loyalty could derail you from pursuing and chasing your dreams and goals. Because their goals don't always match yours. You know, my goal was to be a professional athlete. Some of their goals was okay just being, you know, living and just being in the projects and doing whatever was, you know, going on at that particular time. That didn't match up with what I was doing. You know, so I think I hit a wall there where I was getting into some trouble in my early teens. But thank God it was nothing that really cost me where I had to go away and serve some time. But I did experience getting shot in my 8th grade year, going into my 9th grade year, at a party, messing around, you know, when I shouldn't be. I should have been at home. You know, just kind of put me in a bad situation. Set me back my freshman year because I was actually playing varsity my freshman year.
Okay.
And back then, that wasn't the common thing for freshmen to be playing varsity. But I had a golden opportunity to play varsity as a freshman, and I kind of, you know, didn't really take advantage of that because of that poor choice I had made that night. But because I remember when I'm in that hospital, I'm looking at my mom crying, you know, like her baby dying. And I'm just remembering all the teachings that my mother was telling me and my mentors was telling me. And I think from that point on, I made a decision that I was going to really trust what they was telling me and use that to guide me for the rest of my my years.
Yeah, and is that when you took basketball serious?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, nephew. Because well, I took sports serious.
Yeah.
I was a football guy. Football was my first love, man. Coming out in the Westline housing projects, those were the two biggest sports. Even though at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, they allowed us to play so many other sports. They had a variety of sports accessible for us and at that neighborhood center. But most of my friends were basketball players, but I really enjoyed football because it gave me an opportunity to release some of the frustration that I was dealing with growing up, being the only boy, having to fight a lot in the projects to defend yourself, and then, going home, dealing with your sisters and stuff like that. So it was an opportunity for me to release frustration and stress. So I can go out there, hit somebody as hard as I can, hurt somebody, and there was no penalty. So football was my first love, man. But because so many guys I hung around and they were really good at it, and the center was open late hours to where I could use that as a safe haven and not be caught up in the activity that was going on in our projects. Basketball grew on me. So I was one of those guys when we first started kind of playing young. I wasn't one of the first dudes picked. Quite frankly, I probably was one of the probably second to last guys picked because my skills went up to par. Like that. And like in sixth grade, I think the beginning of sixth grade. But towards the end of my sixth grade year, my seventh grade year, my eighth grade year, I worked so hard, man. Like you could really see the transformation taking place. A lot of people don't know this, but Jamal Turntine, they call him Boo, that played at Washington. He was Calvin Rayford's backcourt teammate in the late 80s and early 90s that won that state championship team that I played against them in 1990. He was like, the dude in our age group, and it was easy to look up to Jamal, and him and another guy was Dwayne Mitchell. We called him Sweet Hands. It was easy to look up to those guys because they grew up in our projects and they were some of the bigger names. My cousin Tonio Spinks and Scott Spinks, those guys were really balling. They was the names back then. So I was a student of the game. I always learned by watching and then go out later and practice these things. I remember getting up, early in the morning and going to the playground and playing from sun up to sundown in the summers a lot, developing my craft from sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. That helped me be in a position to where I could step to the varsity level as a freshman and be able to contribute, at such a young age. But no, all that stuff was based off, the mentors that, came into my life that always gave me these life lessons that nowadays these kids take for granted. They take for granted these life lessons that, these old they call us old heads or OGs, they take that stuff for granted, man. And then later when they go through these hardships, when you see them out, somewhere later, man, I remember when you told me this, I remember you told me that. And, I was all like, yeah, we was dropping them jewels on you so you don't have to go through what we went through, or so you don't have to go through that pain yourself. But I thank God for the mentors, the men that came into my life and guided me and gave me some jewels that helped me keep my head screwed on tight.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to ask you this too. You grew up in Westline, right? We all know that's Silver Spring. You done passed all these high schools to go all the way to Hamilton. What made you choose Hamilton High School?
Man, that hey nephew, listen, being honest, I'm gonna tell you the story behind that. We had a really strong middle school team at John Muir. Everybody, it's still the Carmen Northwest now. And I tell people pound for pound, John Muir had the best basketball players, period. We had all the talent. You know, now granted, I understand other schools have had some basketball players come out of there, but pound for pound, man, when you talk about the best talent that came out of John Muir. So we at John Muir and our team was really strong. And we all wanted to stick together, sort of like a lot of these guys do coming out at 8th grade, you know, want to find a school where, you know, you can stay together with your guys and go somewhere and play right away.
Yeah.
So our coach knew Jim Jones over at Hamilton.
Yeah.
Willie Jackson, he knew Jim Jones. So Coach Jackson, rest in peace, I mean, rest in heaven, his soul, he told us, hey man, if y'all want to play right now, which he knew I was good enough to play, and Demetric Williams was coming along, and Kenny Brown, you know, he told us, listen, I got a friend of mine, and y'all could go over there. I don't know if you're gonna play varsity, but I know for sure you will play JV, you know, and you know, Hamilton wasn't even one of my schools I put on the list. I had Washington on my list because, you know, just Jamal Turntine and Calvin Rayford went there, and we played AFY with them. I played behind them when they was playing AFY, and I was the backup point guard of Calvin Rayford for so many years before he went on to be a star at Washington High School. And you know, I said, man, if I go to Washington, I'm gonna be sitting for some years though. But I kind of wanted to go there because if you was a good player at that particular time, Washington was the place to be. And then I'm looking at, they had Brian Gardner, Mark Mitchell. Now you're talking Calvin Rayford. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking I'm that next guard. You know what I'm saying? So in the city. So I'm all like, man, I need to follow those footsteps and continue to grow behind Jamal and Calvin, and you know, keep learning the game from them so I could be as good as them someday.
Yeah.
But then that summer that I got shot, man, it all just kind of changed, man. And I was all like, I want my own identity. I don't want to follow in nobody's shoes, nobody's footsteps. And I want to challenge and compete against the best. So I always thought about what Coach Jackson shared with us. And we all kind of got together, and man, we all decided we was gonna go to Hamilton. Me, Kenny Brown, Demetric Williams, and I can't remember who all else. It was James Scott that ended up going out there, but James Scott didn't go to Hamilton. He went to shows, but he was the cousin of Demetric Williams. Gotcha. And in middle school, James Scott was a bad brother, you know, but we was all like, we could all get together, go out to Hamilton, and we could do something special. So that's what, you know, eventually led to me deciding to go to Hamilton. That I'm sitting up in the hospital and I don't want the following, excuse me, nobody's footsteps. I eventually want to create my own identity. And I know I had an opportunity to do it at Hamilton. So I jumped out on faith, man, and said, let me see what this gonna do for me.
Yeah, exactly. So when you got shot, did you miss your whole freshman year and then you had to play your sophomore year? Or
I got shot that summer and I had missed some time because school had started.
Yeah.
And I had missed some time, a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I came back, but they knew, you know how you know, the word get out there, you know, dude could play.
Yeah.
Coach knew about me. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I missed a lot of my freshman year, but I had came back towards the end of my freshman year, and we was playing with Chris Jones, who was Mr. Basketball that year.
Yeah.
And we had a really good varsity team that nobody really talks about. Nobody talks about that 88, 89 Hamilton team with Chris Jones the year he was player of the year. And I mean, he was coming out that year with Keith Stewart and a lot of other greats, and he be Tony Bennett and all them, but he was the player of the year. He was Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
Coming out of Washington. I mean, coming out of Hamilton. And I had a chance to play with him my freshman year.
Yeah.
I felt like I let the team down because I developed a relationship with Chris, and I really wanted him to go to state his senior year, set him out with a bang, and then at that time make a name for myself as the future of Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I made a poor decision because I'm living both sides. You know, that how they say you burning both ends of the candle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm burning both ends of the candle, hanging out in the streets when I shouldn't be, and then trying to play basketball like a lot of the dudes still do. It kind of get themselves in a trap. And I set myself back. But I eventually came back at the end of my freshman year. I remember I had to play. Jones had me play, I believe, one freshman game, and it was against Bayview at Bayview. And James Scott was the man at the time. James Scott was running the freshman team. And James Scott really was a varsity player all day long. Why he never got the opportunity to play varsity at Hamilton is beyond me, because James Scott should have been a starter at Hamilton with me in the backcourt. Not taking nothing away from Demetric Williams, but it could have easily been a 3-guard offense with us 3 out there. Or, you know, Demetric could have been, you know, coming off the bench supporting, you know, me and James. But I had to play that freshman game. And Mr. Jones wanted me to get my rhythm back and all that stuff. And he said he'd bring me up at the end of the year if the progress is good. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, he think I lost it? You know, I'm like, I'm 9th grade, I'm cocky and I'm arrogant. Like, you know, I ain't gonna say cocky. I mean, arrogant, but I'm cocky. Because I was putting in work. So I was real cocky and confident about myself. And I'm all like, oh, he think this little setback, he think you know, man, okay, let me show him. So I goes to the freshman game and I score like 40. You know, I score like 40, and I'm like, you know, me and James Scott get into an argument. You know, and he telling me this ain't your damn team, you know, all this stuff. Man, don't come down here shooting the balls and all this and that. And in my mind, I didn't look at it from that perspective of what James was looking at. My perspective was, I got to show dude I'm ready to help the team.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just out trying to put on a show to impress him, and not knowing that, you know, I was turning off some of my teammates, you know, my future teammates. So I played one freshman game. He took me off that. He had me play, I think, maybe about 5 JV games, the last maybe 5 or 6 JV games of the year. I did really well at there. I had no 40-point games, but definitely was playing very solid enough to where he said, okay, I'm gonna move him up at the end of the year. So he moved me and Demetric Williams up at the end of the year. So we freshmen playing varsity. And man, I remember Mr. Jones did me wrong, man. Like, dude, they got all these little nice warm-ups. Everybody wearing the little warm-ups, whatever, man. Dude gave me this old warm-up like from the 70s. It was wool. And he gonna tell me, like, you know, it's gonna get you warmed up in layup line. Like, what? But it did. Like, I was sweating like a mud in that wool, like, you know. But he moved me up. He gave me an opportunity because I guess he felt like I went through the process and he seen the, you know, the development of me improving and getting my rhythm back. And he felt I could help, or maybe he was saying, hey, this is our future. Let me get him to plan and get himself, you know, understanding of what varsity is like right now, and why he could, you know, why he's playing, and he have a good summer. So yeah, I came back, and you know, I ended up finishing up my freshman year, and you know, playing varsity, and caught the playoffs, the regionals.
Okay. So after that year though, and you got on varsity, like a full-time varsity. What was your favorite team that you circled on the calendar that you wanted to play against in the city conference?
See, back then we wasn't in the city.
What?
We was in the Big 9 conference. which the Big Nine Conference consists of South Side schools of the city conference and Racine and Kenosha schools. So it was like us, Bayview, South, Pulaski, and that was it. Because Tech, even though Tech was on the South Side, they had Tech still in the city. But it was just us four city teams, and we played against the Racine and Kenosha teams.
Oh,
wow. And we end up playing them in the Big Nine Conference. And then later, after I graduated, they just combined all the MPS schools and put them all into one conference. But to answer your question, like, you definitely had to circle Bayview. Bayview was definitely one of the tough teams in the Big Nine Conference that, you know, we look forward to playing against. When I was growing up in the Big Nine, always you circling like Racine Horlick, you circling Racine Park, because they was always known for having good guards.
You
know, and I felt it was a way for me to measure myself. So against Case, Park, and Horlick, I'm circling all three of them. So, and then, you know, my senior year, I looked forward to playing Kenosha Tremper because they had another guard, Rick Jimenez, that they was hyping up in the conference. And I'm like, really? We got Britt Winton over here at Pulaski averaging 20. You know, we got Scudder and, you know, all these dudes from Bayview guards over here balling. You know, we got we really were no guards at South balling at that time. As I'm thinking my sophomore, junior, senior year. But Bayview had good guards, man, that we was going up against all day long. Levi Bradley played point guard for him for a minute. Brian Morgan was over there. Scudder, you know, they had some guards. Brent Whitten and them was always a good battle, even though we had beat him pretty handily. But Brent Whitten going to get his money at Pulaski. You know, but it was just the excitement built around playing Racine and Kenosha schools, you know, but they was hyping dude up. And my senior year, I really looked forward to playing dude. But my sophomore year, it was more about, you know, winning and competing and having a chance to play city conference teams. Because, you know, when I go back home and over the summer, it's always to talk about, you know, the big nine guards and players never really get mentioned. So we wanted our respect. You know, you always heard about the Washington, the King, the Tech, the Vincent, you know, all this, the city conference at that time, they're players. And we always used to get looked over. And I was determined, like, I'm gonna put Hamilton on the map. They're gonna respect us.
And you definitely put Hamilton on the map, Yep. So,
well, they was already on the map, but they wasn't getting respected. I think a lot of respect came from when we started playing.
I like that. I like that. Now, your time at Hamilton, did you get a chance to go upstate?
Yeah. We should have went my freshman year.
Yeah, I remember you said
we should have went my freshman year. We played South Division, and I remember this clear as day, man. We played against Carlton McGee, Beaker Brown and them, Jeff House and them, the point guard for South. And we planned them for a trip to go upstate. And I'm like, yes, we get to send Chris Jones out with a bang. Corey Morgan fouls out. He was our starting point guard. Corey Morgan fouls out. Jones looking down the bench. I'm thinking he ain't about to call me. I'm thinking he about to call Larry Barnett. I'm thinking he about to call anybody else but me. Mike Poppy, Michael Poppy. I'm thinking they about to call one of them because they were seniors and juniors. I'm thinking about to call one of them. He ain't calling the freshman. Man, Jones looked by them, called me, put me in the game. Man, I was scared as shit, man. I ain't gonna even lie. I was nervous. But you know how it is, Q. You can't let nobody know you nervous.
Yeah,
Sweat like
exactly.
that. So I'm walking with the swag and all this and that, but inside, I'm nervous. So we kind of stalling at the end. I think we were up, and we kind of stalling, and I got fouled. I go to the line with a chance for us to win the game. I'm at the free throw line shooting 2 free throws with a chance to win the game and send Chris upstate. I go to the line, I missed the free throws. I didn't miss some bad like brick or air ball, but I missed. The pressure caught me. And I cried like a baby, man. I cried so hard because I felt I let the team down. You know what I'm saying? And it meant something to me personally to send Chris out with a bang. I love that dude, you know, because I saw his work ethic, and I haven't seen, you know, like I never really heard of Chris until, you know, I got to Hamilton. You know, I always heard of all the other players from the Washington, the Kings, you know, the Riversides. You know, I'm hearing about everybody else. Nobody talks about Chris Jones until I got there, and I'm all like, oh, they disrespected this cat. So I'm all like, it's my job. And it really wasn't my job, but in my mind, because I'm a little cocky and arrogant. I ain't gonna say arrogant, but cocky and confident, you know, that I could help this dude out.
Yeah.
And man, I tricked them free throws, man, and South ended up beating us and going to state. And I cried like a baby, man. But I made a vow to Coach Jones. I said, man, we getting a state next year. I said, we going to state now. I'm not even thinking about it. It's just the comment that I made in my mind, how hard I was willing to work to try to put us in a position to go to state. And it's crazy. My sophomore year, we ended up going back, right? We ended up going to state for the first time. And we ended up beating Tech. And I remember when we beat Tech, they was trying not to let us go upstate because at the time, you can only play 20 games. That's all you was, you know, allocated to play was 20 games. You play over 21 games, you don't go to, you know,
it's like you get disqualified or something.
Yep, you get disqualified. So we had played in the tournament out at Waukesha South. And I remember Jones didn't let us play in a consolation game because he knew that it would have counted as a game. But because we was in the tournament, and even if we didn't play, it still counted as a game with the forfeit. So we ended up playing 21 games. Win Parkinson at the time at Tech, legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach. He made central office aware of it, WIA aware of it. So I was told. I don't know for sure if Win Parkinson did that or not, but it was shared with us that Coach Parkinson had leaked it, that we played too many games. And it couldn't, listen, Coach Parkinson might not have done it because everybody got access to knowing everybody's schedule. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been anybody, but I think some people just kind of put it out there, Coach Parkinson, because Tech had a chance to go to state.
Yeah.
You know? So I remember I'm out at Northridge Shopping Mall that Saturday.
That's throwback. Jesus.
Yeah. Cracking. And you know, everybody, we gassed because we just won Saturday night, we going to state. You know what I'm saying? We get on the bus, we go to Northridge Mall Sunday. We gotta be seen. You know what I'm saying? Young cats, we going to state. And I remember we saw Terrence Neighbors in the mall. And Terrence Neighbors told us, you know, y'all ain't going to state, right? Y'all got disqualified. And you know, I'm all like, yeah, right. Man, I listen, I'm not BSing you none. We left immediately, left the mall, got on the bus, went right back home, and we calling our coach, we calling to ask him, like, is this true? We not going to state. We got disqualified, all this and that. Jones told us, yeah. Man, I broke down crying, man. Like, I couldn't believe this. I'm shocked, devastated. We can't go to state as a sophomore because I know by going to state, it helps put you in a position to, build your name.
Yeah.
So I'm all like, man, that was my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To put Hamilton on the map and get some recognition for myself. So my mom, I got one of the sweetest mothers, man. Like my mom, a ride or die, she fighting for her baby. So my mom, along with our cheerleading coach, our basketball coach, man, they all got together with our principal. They got together with Dr. Peterkin, who was the superintendent at the time, and Mr. Lavelle, and man, they fought for us to go upstate. We went against the WIAA, man, and I mean, like they was really fighting for us not to go up there, but ultimately we was rewarded an injunction. An injunction allowed us to go play in the tournament until the court date and they make their decision. So the court date was way later down the line after this WIA state tournament. So they granted us that injunction to go to the state tournament and play. And man, once they granted us that injunction, man, I mean, listen, man, Hamilton was lit.
Yeah.
Like, it was lit. Because you think about it, Hamilton ain't been to state since 1972.
Yeah.
And they going to state now in 1990. You know what I'm saying? It's almost 20 years. So we like, man, it's lit. I mean, that South Side was lit, man. The people in the community, and they just loved us, man. And I remember we was having like open lunch. Like they don't give open lunch at MPS no more. But we had open lunch, and we used to go to lunch, man, and get free food, all type of stuff. We kicking it, just having a good time, man. We go to state, we play Eau Claire North, the first game. We knew they was lunch meat. We knew they was lunch meat, man, because we was determined to show the WIAA. At this point, it wasn't even about playing Eau Claire North.
It's about showing WIAA. Like,
oh yeah, whoever we play that first game, we about to put it on them. And I mean, from jump ball, man. Listen, we put on the show that game, man. Like Reggie Smith, Marvin Fitzgerald, Jim Krieger, Kelly Eubanks, like Demetric Williams, myself. Like, man, listen, put on the show. And really, Reggie and Marvin put on the show. It was a dunk fest. Yeah. Like, to me, I could be wrong in this, but we possibly could have broke a state record for dunks in that game. Like, they was clowning them dudes, man. Like, man, Reggie them dunking on them backwards. Just going up Marvin and them, they clowning, man. Like, and I know it was all frustration. We wanted to show that we deserve to be there. We earned that right to be there. We beat Tech, and a simple technicality shouldn't have showed us. And then y'all trying to stop us, we're going to send a message to y'all,
exactly.
So we beat them, and our next game was against Showtime, Purple and Gold, City Conference Pride, Washington High School, and Washington, they was all that, for real. They was all that. They had a very strong team. And we knew whoever won that game was going to win state.
Yeah.
We knew that. Yeah. We knew that. And it was a battle because we played Washington earlier that year in a scrimmage game at Washington. It was like, how you had them JV games, them scrimmage games, JV games. You have them early on Saturday morning, where really your starters ain't supposed to play. It's the reserve players to try to get them some, some reps and stuff like that. Yeah. But somehow both teams showed up. Starters, everybody playing. And, we beat them handily down in their basement. And I'm pretty sure that was a stain on them. I'm pretty sure Gordon let them have it. I think they knew too that they shouldn't have been beat like that in a gym. So when we got upstate, they was driven, they was motivated, but we also were too.
They got your uncle. Is a good game.
To me, it was a good game all the way through. It was a 6-point game. We was actually even winning at halftime. You know, it was a 6-point game, and I thought we had a chance to win it because we got Silas Mills in foul trouble. You know, and I'm all like, man, if we get Big Moan in foul trouble, we got a chance to win it because they don't have nobody else big coming off the bench.
Yeah.
2 things we forgot.
Calvin Rayford.
No, Cal had an average game. Cal
Okay.
had an average game. You would think Cal, but it wasn't Cal. It was Wilton Henry. Wilton Henry put a number on us. Wilton Henry, I think, had 26 that game. He put a number on us, man. We couldn't do nothing with Will Henry that game. And then Jamal Turntine, Boo, put a number on us. I think Boo had 18 and Wilt had 26. And if Wilt don't get to 26, we win. Because Moan in foul trouble, he'd have a good game. I don't even think Moan had double figures.
Yeah.
But Wilt go for the 26, and then Boo have his steady game. Boo, that's around his average where he, normally play. He showed up and played.
Yeah.
But if Wilt don't get that 26, we pop Washington and we move on. And we play Appleton East in the championship game. And we'd have blew through them. We'd have blew right through them like Washington did. It wasn't even no game. Washington just blew them out. We knew whoever won our game was going to win it all. But you talking about Marvin Fitzgerald, senior. Y'all had junior at Vincent.
Yeah.
But senior, daddy was a bad man, averaging 20 at Hamilton with us. We used to call him James Worthy because he had that first step like James Worthy. Whereas really his real nickname was Billy D Williams. He had that curl like Billy D. He was Billy D. Williams. But he had the first step like James Worthy. It was him. Reggie Smith averaged 20. I think I was probably as a sophomore averaging maybe about 10 points a game. Demetric was around 10 too. But we had a deep bench. Like Jim Krieger was 6'5", came off the bench. 6'5" white boy come off the bench shooting it like nobody. You know what I'm saying? And we had Kelly Eubanks, who came off the bench. He had a really good game against Washington, too. I think he had like 12 points against Washington off the bench. But I had, I think, like 21 or 23, as a sophomore in that game. And, I led a late surge. I went on a scoring spree towards the end. I was hitting a couple of buckets, some threes, some pull-ups. The historical move where they caught me, Cal reaching on me, I wrapped it around my back on him and pulled up a shot. Then another one off the glass on Moan. A couple of, historical shots, for us when we played them in that game. But yeah, that was a game, man. I love that. And I'm just glad to have that opportunity to have played them, man. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with those guys, with Warning playing at 2'9". I grew up with Cal and Boo playing AFY with them. And it was only fitting that I had an opportunity to play against those guys. Like I was saying in 8th grade, create my own identity, playing against some 2 star-studded backcourt guys who was, don't get enough credit in this city at all. Cal and Boo don't get enough credit. They talk about a lot of other guards and guard tandems in this city or their periods of times or whatever. But that was a bad combination right there, man. Them dudes was legit.
It was legit.
And I'm gonna tell you how legit they were. They was ranked 4th in the country.
Yeah, they sure was.
They was ranked 4th in the country. And just to have an opportunity, and then me and Boo growing up in Westline under Bobby Ricardo, they let our mentor have, me and Boo playing against each other. You know what's even more crazy, nephew? When we lost to Washington, the big picture in the sports section the next day was a picture of me and Boo.
You still
had a picture of me and Boo.
You got it framed up, or you ain't got it?
Yeah, I got a picture of it. Absolutely. From time to time, I put it on Facebook and all that stuff sometimes, just to remind it for our mentor, our father, Bob Ricardo, that he had 2 you know, supreme athletes from that he raised played on against each other on in the state tournament on the floor, competing against each other. You know, I don't believe he ever had that before. Me and Boo probably was the only ones that had that, you know, that experience of having our mentor, you know, and us playing in the state tournament against each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good feeling, man. And that was all my sophomore year. My junior year, I'm like, we gonna get back. We gonna get back. We didn't do good our junior year because Reggie Smith kind of pulled a move on us, left us hanging when we played at South. If Reggie would have showed up, and Reggie, I mean, he told us that he was getting death threats, you know, sent to him, and that's why he didn't show up and play that game. Um, uh, um, but if Reggie would have showed up and played that game, I'm pretty sure we'd have won, and I'd have went to state my junior year. But then we come back our senior year, and we have the smallest team, you know, and we end up going to state with a very small team. That year, my senior year, we was pretty much like undefeated, and they stripped 13 games away from us because they said that Pete Kennedy um, 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 was an ineligible player. He transferred from Washington over to Hamilton with us because he's our friend. He grew up with us, you know, in Westline with us, and he went to Washington, played JV for Washington, but they ended up leaving Washington, transferring to Hamilton, and he was our starting center. But I guess, and I don't blame this on Coach Jones. I don't blame it on Pete, but an athletic director job is to do that background check. And if the athletic director cleared him to play, then I don't blame the player. Even though at the time I didn't feel that way. Man, my best friend, I called him up. He's like a brother to me. We had an exchange of words. We cussing each other out, this and that. But really, as I grow older and, you know, look at it, put things in perspective, if he got cleared by the AD, that's not his fault.
Yeah.
AD, you get paid. That's your job to do the background check. So they took 13 games away from us, and they stripped us. And we probably was one of the first teams to go upstate with a losing record.
Wow. Yeah.
But we knew we wasn't a losing team because those 13 games we played, we won them. We won every last one of them 13 games. And in a 20-game season, remind you now, Q, in a 20-game season, we won them 13 games. But then there was some other games we won they didn't take away from us because Pete didn't play in them games. So I think like my senior year, we lost to Tremper once. We lost to, I think, Horlick and Park. We lost like 3 games.
And then the rest of them
they
was
snatched.
really wins.
Huh?
The rest of them was really wins, but y'all got stripped from them.
Yeah, and the 13 wins they took from us.
No, okay.
But it didn't change us none, man. Shoot, it didn't change us none because we had a squad. Me, Demetri Williams, Deron, Hollywood Reed, rest in heaven his soul, Hollywood, Kwame Brown, and then we had Markel McDuffie, who was 5'10" playing center.
Oh, Lord.
But listen, Q, was holding it down. When I say holding it down at 5'10" at the center, he was just cock strong and you wasn't moving him, man. Like he was guarding Bill Mayhew was like 6'8". You know, he guarding Bill Mayhew and some of these other big dudes in the conference. They can't do nothing with him. And we ended up winning our regional, winning our sectional, and going to state. And then we ended up losing to Alex Compton, Madison West. And they had a huge team. They was too big. We couldn't match up with them, man. They had too much hype for us.
Yeah.
And no matter how much we pressed them, they had good enough guards. Doyle, I forgot the white kid name played the 2 guard. He was built like Jamal Turn team and shoot too good like him. But Alex Compton was just something special. And they handled our pressure really well, and they beat us upstate that year.
Now, once you done with your senior year or whatnot, what all schools were offering you? And what made you
listen.
choose North Dakota State?
I'm be honest. I was getting letters from so many schools, Q, like because I had played AAU with Rick Cobb. At the time growing up, really, it was only two well-known AAU programs in the city. You play for either Rick Cobb, who would snatch the best of the best, or you played for St. Clair, which his team was based out of Racine.
Okay.
And Rick came to one of my games, Racine Horlick against Joe Burns. And I tore a hole in Joe Burns' ass, man. Supposed to have been one of the best guards in the state. And I remember that they was hyping him up. And I'm like, what? You disrespecting me? I'm going to show y'all this game. And I remember in warm-up line, I saw Rick Cobb, Bill Marifke, and Will Allen walk through the door. They walked through the door, and I'm seeing them come through the door at Hamilton. I'm blown back. I knew who Rick Cobb was, but never in a million years I'd have ever thought I was good enough to play for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but I knew this was my one-shot chance to prove something to him. I said, if I get off here, because Rick coming to see me, I know it was either me or Joe Burns. He come to see one of us.
One of the other.
And I'm all like, if I get off, I know I'm gonna get that invite. Man, I tore a hole in Joe Burns, man. I mean, tore a hole. I'm straight and bare, and we beat him by like 25, 30. So I got invited to Rick Cobb practice on Saturday. They used to practice out on Blue Mound on 55th, the church. And he had already had his teams, you know, the older teams playing. We were the younger team. And he pretty much had his team set because he had Frank Secker, Terry Preston, Ryan Marifke, Brian Curry, Otto McDuffie, Jamie Harrell, Greg Timmerman, Big Reggie Smith from Northwestern. He had Darren Rankin, Kevin Rankin brother. He had a star-studded team already.
Yeah.
B. Carter, Brian Carter from Dominican. He had a star-studded team already, but I think he felt he was missing something, like one guard that could, you know, change something. And I think it was between me and Joe Burns who he was looking at. So I got the invite, and I played for Rick. But let me go back a little bit, man, because that was my junior year. My sophomore year, after I went to state, I went to a camp called the Metro Index Camp in Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay.
In Bloomington, Illinois, you got Tom Kleinschmidt there, McDonald's All-American. You had Howard Nathan there, McDonald's All-American. Mike Finley there, you know, NBA, long career. Donnie Boyce, their NBA, Sherelle Ford, NBA, Hubert Register. You can go on down the line. They had Kenya Murray, Justin Jennings. These are out of Battle Creek, Michigan. These dudes is high profile, big time. I come in as a sophomore at the end of my sophomore year, going upstate against Cal and them. And my coach say, I want to send you to this camp. It's a great opportunity for you to measure yourself against some of the nation's best. I go to the camp, man. I win most promising underclassmen trophy. So I got selected to play in the All-Star game, where the top 16 players in the camp play in the All-Star game against each other. Ryan Hoover, that went to Notre Dame, he was there. Man, listen. That was the start of me taking off. That was the start of me getting national notoriety, respect, and everything. And I took off from there. I started to get letters at that point. Colleges showing interest in me and sending me letters at that point. And then coming back into my junior year, my name started to buzz a little bit. And I think as my junior year went on, Rick Cobb hearing about me, knowing that, you know, this cat could play, we got to give him a look. So I think that's what propelled Rick and them to come to that game against Racine Horlick to see me play.
Yeah.
The year in, I get the invite, go with Rick. I play AAU on that team. And what's crazy, man, like I even post this sometimes, like the cover and then of the Wisconsin yearbook.
Yeah.
And they had the starting 5 on their first team. And then I was on second team. But Terry Preston and Frank Secker, Terry went to Utah and Frank Secker went to Vanderbilt. And I started over them. Me and Ryan Marifke was the backcourt, the starting backcourt. And then sometimes Rick would flip it. He'd have Terry and Frank start, you know, but me and Ryan started, and then Terry and Frank play together. And I think me and Ryan complimented each other because I was more of an Isaiah Thomas playmaker type guard, and Ryan was a scorer, a shooter.
Yeah.
Terry and Frank played kind of the same type of game, you know. And but I actually started over Terry and Frank quite a few games for our AAU team. And I remember we went to Vegas, and man, I had a really good performance out in Vegas, man. Like I think we played 6. I think we played 6 out of all them teams that was out there. And I think that's when my name started to really make a buzz, you know, make a name for myself nationally. And came back, worked hard, you know, my senior year. And I mean, I pretty much had outside, I'm gonna tell you who didn't recruit me. I didn't get no letters from Duke, didn't get none from North Carolina, didn't get none from UCLA. Kentucky, Kansas.
Okay.
Like I say, the bluegrass schools, like them top 5 or 6, I didn't get letters from them, but pretty much everybody else was sending me letters. I had, man, like, and people that know me from this know I'm not lying. I had like 4 or 5 shoe boxes full of letters. I mean, the big boxes, not no little, I say shoe boxes, my fault. It wasn't shoe boxes. It was big boxes full of letters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I kept them for years, you know, and I used to always, even like my friends, I'd be like, go in there and look who was recruiting me. You go out down the lines, Big Tens, SECs, Pac-12, well, Pac-10 at the time. Marquette was at the time, they weren't even in the Big East, you know, but I had Big East.
Was they Conference USA, right?
They was Conference USA, absolutely. And I was getting all recruited by all of them. I even was a McDonald's All-American nominee, honorable mention, at the time. But I couldn't nail down the ACT score.
Okay.
I took the test, I think, 3 times. And I think the highest score that I had was either a 17 or a 16. You needed an 18 to be eligible. And if you didn't have the 18, you was considered to be a Prop 48. So at that time, I had a decision to make. Do I go JUCO? Do I go sit out somewhere? I know one team that really was on me hard. And I had a chance to play with 2 other guys from here. And I always, to this day, I kind of regret it because I wonder if we'd have played together, we'd probably been we could have made probably the Final Four or something like that. I ain't gonna say national championship, but I know we'd have been pushing and shooting for that. But if I'd have went to Utah, I'd have had an opportunity to play with Daryl Wright and Silas Mills. I'd have had a chance because I'd have been the 1, Daryl would have been the 2, Silas would have been the 3. I remember Rick Majerus pulling up to my house in the Lincoln, getting out of his car with the cowboy boots on, with the green Jabos, coming up the Westline and Westline housing projects. That ain't happening. College coaches just ain't pulling up like that in Westline. You know, Rick Majerus pulls up, coming to my house, and he recruited me hard. He put the offer on the table. And I think what kind of turned me off was I wanted Rick to talk about me, my vision, like what he could do for me at Utah, what Utah had to offer me. And it was more talking about other players, you know, And I'm all like, well, man, and probably this is my immaturity in myself. And part of it is my arrogance, my cockiness, that I want you to, you know, come in here and kiss my butt a little bit.
Yeah, that's how we all feel as basketball
And
players.
it wasn't that. And he was talking about other players and how I could compliment them and this and that. I'm like, what? So I never disrespected Rick because I wasn't raised that way. So I heard his whole spiel and everything. When Rick Majerus left out, I told my mother, I said, I ain't going there. I said it just like that. I ain't going there. Dude don't got no love for me. He ain't trying to tell me what he got planned for me, you know? But that was me being arrogant and cocky, not understanding that if us three would have got together, oh my goodness,
Get some stuff.
what that could have been like.
That could have been that would have been nice, man. But you know, we all had the moments in our life where we like, damn, I wish I would have did this. So and with you being from the inner city too, what made you choose North Dakota? Like that's northern.
What happened from North Dakota? Because I out of high school, I didn't want to sit out. I didn't want to sit out, so I ended up going junior college.
Okay.
I became a junior college All-American out there. They inducted me in my Hall of Fame. I wrecked junior college in California. You know, I set a record as a freshman out there, 57 points in the game, 10 threes. You know, we played the 13th ranked team in the country Lansing. We beat them on their floor, 107 to I think 99 or something like that. But like I had a phenomenal career and I had so many West Coast schools recruit me. This was crazy. I should have went to Fresno State. Dominique Young actually got my scholarship to go there. Dominique Young, just like Utah, Terry Preston ended up going to Utah because I didn't take the scholarship to Utah. So next, Terry Preston ended up, Rick Majerus offered it to Terry. Terry took the scholarship and went to Utah. So it's Tartania recruit me. It's either me or Dominique Young. You know, he played at Chabot Junior College in California, but he's from Chicago. And I tore a hole in him in the Reno tournament in California. And I was all tournament out there and all this, like my accolades is off the chart in junior college. And I tore him up. And I remember Skip to my loop. Him and I can't remember the guard, the white guard who got caught up with the cocaine and all that, doing drugs, and he do a lot of motivational speaks now because he changed his life around. But him and Skip to my loop was there with Tremaine folks and the big Eli Melvin, all them. So I went on a visit down to Fresno. And man, I should have really went to Fresno State, man. I really should have, but I wouldn't start. And I'm looking at, I only got 2 years left because I had spent 2 in JC. So I got to go somewhere where I'm going to be on the floor.
Right away.
Don Newman from Sacramento State, which was D1, brought me down on a visit to Sac State. Now, Sac State was a small Division I. They was a mid-major. They weren't even in the big conference. I think they was the America West Conference at the time, which was a small conference. Nobody really knows about them. But what caught my interest to go to Sac State, where I ended up signing, was that he took me to the Sacramento Kings. And I got an opportunity to work out with Mitch Richmond, L Train, Lionel Simmons, L Train. And I'm working out with their trainer, Al Biacani. And I'm all like, he like, I can get this? And he like, yeah, you come to Sacramento State, you can work out with them all the time. Because we played our home games at Arco Arena. They called it Golden One now, but back when I was at Sac State, it was called Arco Arena. And either we had some home games on our campus, and we had some home games at our Arco Arena. And our Christmas tournament was at Arco Arena, which they had Georgetown and Allen Iverson come in, Kenny Sykes, who was leading the nation in scoring, at Grambling, they had came in, and some of the other schools. So I left Shasta and committed to Sac State. But I couldn't even get my feet wet at Sac State because here I am again, burning both ends of the candle. We goes to a party in Chico, where Butte County is, where Aaron Rodgers from.
Yeah.
And they was the #1 party school in the nation at the time. So we go there, and I come back and get into a car accident coming back from, and I should have stayed there and spent the night like my guy Ramon Hanna did. He stayed there. No, not me. I got to get back to the campus. So we driving on I-5 that night. I laid a seat all the way back on the passenger side. And my guy, Mike, he driving, but we've been, hanging out, kicking it, drinking. We shouldn't even be doing it. And we get on the highway. Anybody know I-5 in California? And I just took my team out there a few years ago. They don't have lights on I-5. Like, you ain't got no lights. You ain't, it's kind of just driving, it's your headlights.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's real messed up. So he kind of swerves over into, well, as they tell us in the report and all this stuff, he swerves over, and I don't think he did, but this is what was said. And they said an old man in a Cadillac kind of swerved over, and we hit head on with each other. And that wasn't even the end of it. A semi came from behind and smacked us, and it threw me through the windshield. That's how I got this scar right here on my head. Right here, I got 50-some stitches. I was paralyzed for like a period of time. I was paralyzed, I think, for maybe a couple of months out there. And that right there was a life-changing experience where I thought I was going to die. And my mom don't fly. So it was no way really for my mom to get there immediately to see me. So I made a conscious decision to transfer from Sacramento State, and that's why I ended up going to North Dakota State. I'm sitting at home that whole summer really contemplating quitting basketball because of my injury. And I didn't know if I'd be able to bounce back. But I had too much fight in me, and thank God the friends like Ewell Clinton, Pete Kennedy, Deshaun Ezell, Andre Noodles, Marvin Wynn Sr., Kenny Brown. These dudes was in my ear like, no, man, you ain't quitting. They taking me to the gym. They making me get my stuff together, and then I remember Ewell Clinton called me and was like, what's up, man? You trying to play or what? I got a spot up here for you. I told the coach. Rick Cobb called and put the stamp on it with Coach Billiter at North Dakota State, and you got a great chance to start or play. And he told me that. I thought about it. I said, shoot, North Dakota State, straight shot, I-94 West, straight, at least my mama, something happened, she can get on the highway and get to me. So I said, yeah, I'll go to North Dakota State. And it was crazy, Q, about that. I used to get mail from North Dakota State, and I used to laugh and rip it up. Wow. When I was in high school, I said, dude, don't insult me like that as a Division II school sending me no letters. I'm All-American. You know what I'm saying? I used to laugh, throw the letter, just toss it like, it's nothing. Like, please, send me some letters, from some D1, some top 5 schools, top 25 schools in the country. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I want to see. That's what I was used to getting. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was awkward, but then it ended up working out. And I ended up going to North Dakota State, man.
Yeah. And how was your 2 years there, man? What awards and
man? Actually, I had a pretty good career there, man. My junior year really took off, man. Like, I didn't think it was gonna take off like it did. Not far as numbers. I wasn't posting the numbers I was like in high school or in junior college, but it was steady. I think I was around 10, 12 points a game. But I led our team in assists.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me ask you this, though. Like, how long did it take for you to bounce back after the car accident?
The whole summer. And part of, like, I got into that car accident probably, I think probably November, December,
So this like right before the season then.
right before the season.
Right before the season.
Yeah.
So you missed all that time, including
I missed the whole season.
the whole season, the summer, and then you was able to.
And that summer,
Yeah.
because I was done. I couldn't even try. I couldn't do nothing. I'm laid up in my apartment. I can't really do nothing, man. You know, and my friends and stuff, they had to cater to me. My teammates that I roommated with had to cater to me. You know, I couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And man, it's just something about me, man, where I come from, man. We got that never say die spirit. You know, and it's right up in Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, never say die. You know, we got a heart of a lion, man. Like, we gonna fight. And I just couldn't accept the fact that I wasn't gonna play no more, even though I'm contemplating giving it up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't accept that, you know. So I let my body heal up, and I used to just go over to the parks and shoot around in California, you know, not playing nothing serious, just BSing around to see if I could play again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I just started going to working out. And then the end of the year came. I had already made my mind up that I'm leaving, you know, and I had to have that conversation with Don Newman, you know, and Micah Blunt, which was our coaches. And I had a really great relationship with Don Newman, very open about everything. Even when he came back here and was assistant coaching with the Bucks, we had a really good relationship. We talked. When he went on to coach with Pop at Poplovich in San Antonio, we still stayed in contact. But I had to have that real talk with him, you know, like, I can't stay out here. And he wanted me to stay. He knew what he had in me. And I told him I couldn't do it. I had to go home. And so I went home, and I just worked on my game hard, you know, right in Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, man. I always knew you could always get tested up in there. It's always the ball is up in there. You're gonna get tested. So, you know, I spent a lot of my summers and nights and stuff at Silver Spring and on the playground getting myself together.
Okay. Yep. And
But
then
I had a pretty good career. My junior year was really good at North Dakota State. My senior year, coming off that junior year, I shot the ball really well. I was shooting like 56% from the 3-point line. And you know, coach he was bringing in another guard, and Mark McGee could play point or the two, just like me. I could play the point or the two. So he wanted to experiment, but I could shoot the ball better than Mark. So what we would do is, on offense, Mark would play the point, I would go to the two because I could score. But on defense, I would guard the point and Mark would guard the two.
exactly. Okay.
That's how we was working at our senior year. And you know, I always, however it went down my junior, senior year, I was always the third lead scorer on the team.
Yeah.
You know, we had Brian Sand and I think Fred Fritley, and then myself my junior year. And then my senior year, it was Marcel. No. It was Brian Sand, Marcel Johnson, myself, and Fred Fritley. Then that was my junior year. My senior year, it was Marcel Johnson, Mark McGee, and me. We was the top three scorers on the team.
Now when you finished up at North Dakota, what was your mindset then? Was you thinking about trying to go to the NBA? Was you down on yourself? Was you trying to go overseas?
Man, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I went to I got selected to play in the All-Star game in the North Central Conference. They had an All-Star game for Division II. Me and Marcel Johnson got selected from North Dakota State to play in that game. So at that point, I'm like, hell yeah. You know, professional is not off the table. That's what I'm on.
Yeah.
And I was still cool with Coach Newman. So Coach Newman had hooked me up with an agent, And his name was Miles McAfee. Miles McAfee had just joined the Lions with Master P. They was Golden Gate Sports, sports management in the Bay Area. Master P came and joined Lions with Miles McAfee. It became No Limit Sports management. But Miles McAfee became my agent to kind of represent me. So I know that Miles was working for me, stuff like that. So I had an opportunity to travel and go to some free agent camps and, try out for some of these free agent teams and stuff like that. The 76ers, the Spurs. I had some CBA teams at the time. It was the Grand Rapids Hoops, Tampa Bay Windjammers. And then I had an overseas opportunity to go play overseas. But at the time, and I was sharing this with you earlier, like this was during Desert Storm, the Desert Storm War. And I was all like, man, no, I don't feel comfortable going outside the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't doing that. So that was off the table, going outside the country. And I just got tired of, man, trying to make a team, man. Nothing would stick. And I said, man, I got a college degree. So I fell back on my college degree and been doing it for the last 25 years.
Yeah, and share with the people what your college degree is, man.
I got a bachelor's degree in human development and education from North Dakota State. The real North Dakota State, the Bison, not the Sioux.
Yeah.
That's our rival, man. Time I got a chance to stick it to him, I'm gonna stick it to him. I got my degree, and I thank God for it. I remember my mentors telling me growing up, don't let the game of basketball pimp you. And I had to get clarity on that. What you mean pimp me? What? And they was always saying to us, like, y'all as great athletes go up there, y'all fill them seats, y'all create sellouts. These people make a lot of money off y'all, but y'all don't really get nothing in return if you don't graduate. So it was more like how you don't let them pimp you is let them make that money off you, but you walking away from that campus with that college degree. So when you come back to your neighborhood, you come back to your city, wherever you go set up shop at, you can be able to make something happen for you as a Black male.
Yeah.
So that always stuck with me. And I just got to hustle in the classes, because I'm gonna tell you one thing, Q, I'm gonna keep it 100. I went to school and paid attention in class and did my work because I wanted to be eligible to play basketball. Sports was the reason why I was in school. I'm just gonna keep it real, 100.
Yeah.
Thank God for sports. It saves people's lives. It really does. And because of that, it taught me to take my education serious. So by the time I got to college, education became a priority of mine. And getting that degree became a priority of mine, because I didn't want to come back home and be looked upon as a failure. It was so many of us went to college and let college pimp us. They got plenty money off us, but we came back home and worked at gas stations, became drug dealers, worked at, mom or just part-time jobs. We didn't have nothing to fall back on if basketball didn't work. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want that to be me. I saw that too much. So, I was the first generation. I was the first in my family to get a college degree. And I took pride in that, knowing that I could be the first to get a college degree, how proud my mother would be, how proud my mentors would be, because growing up as a Black male in the city of Milwaukee, it was told that we wouldn't make it to be 25. And if we did, we're going to be dead. We're going to be in jail or strung out on drugs.
Yeah.
So that was our life, pretty much what people pegged us to be: dead, jail, or on drugs. fighting with gangs and stuff and on drugs. And I'm
Yeah.
like, not me. I got too much pride in myself. You
Yeah.
know, I've been around some great mentors that got a lot of class about theyself, a lot of get up about theyself. You know, Mark, you ain't been around Mark Wade and being no failure. You ain't been around Jim Jones and Will Wade and Vic Barnett and Bob Ricardo being no failure.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? They pushing you for greatness. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that from them because they life teachings that they taught me stuck with me for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, you know, it's because of them, those life speeches that they used to give us, they stuck with me. And when they wasn't around with me, I helped myself to have integrity to remember what they told me and try to manage and make the best decisions, you know, for myself under whatever circumstances I was dealing with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So once you get your degree and everything, when did coaching start for you? Because a lot of people may not know this. Coach Riley, he helped us out at Vincent. You know, he coached our summer league. He was a great mentor. But when did coaching
Hold
start for
on, Q. Don't tell them how we was manhandling people down in Marquette.
you?
You know?
Man, my bad. You know, man, look, when I talk about it, man, you know, they like, oh man, come on now, man. But
Hey,
but
I'm gonna say that set the tone for y'all, man. I was so proud of y'all that even Diener to even consider me to step in and have the opportunity to work with y'all and develop y'all. Man, you don't know how that made me feel as a young person.
yeah.
I got it was 11, 12 of y'all that I had underneath my wing a whole summer.
You used to
And
take the
you know,
Suburban to
y'all thirsty, eager to just be successful, and man, y'all was serious about ball. It's a little different now. A lot of the players today don't have that in them, what I saw in y'all.
yeah.
And y'all made me want to go and figure out how to be the best coach to come with best practices, schemes, and plays and whatever. Because you got to remember, Diener gave me plays to run for y'all. I jumped them. I was
Yeah.
running my own plays with y'all. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's
And then
why it was a
Diener would
party.
come to the game and be like, Riley, what is? And I had to tell him personally, like, that ain't working for them. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta run this. This was working. And y'all was working, man. We had our rotations down and we was whooping everybody. I mean, whoever they thought was gonna win state that year, they didn't want to see Messi.
They ain't want to
They
see
didn't want to see
They ain't
Messi,
want to see us bad.
you know? And I think part of it was too, man. I think Diener was trying to build the whole program around Marcus, where my perspective was different. We knew we had something special in Marcus, but why put all that pressure on Marcus when we got a Q Bar, a Quint, Javon Campbell? You know, we had a Marquise Chambers. We had Billy Mem. We had pieces. Willathon Boyce. We had pieces, man. Like, and remember, you know, I used to tell Willathon all the time, you the X factor. You're going to always have the mismatch, Willathon. I used to always tell Bonnie, don't focus on none of that stuff. Get your money. Billy, facilitator, run the offense. Get everybody involved. Q, you like a wrench, I mean, or a tool bag. You could provide whatever the game needed. If it was ball handling, rebounding, scoring, you know, assists, whatever it needed, you was like that dude who you had all the tools, whatever you need to fix the house or fix the car, you had it in your tool bag.
Yeah.
And that's how I used y'all, man. I played y'all to y'all strengths. And that's why we had that success we had, man.
Yes, we did, man.
I
Dog,
was so proud to coach y'all, man, and I was glad. Remember how proud we was, man, when we won it, how happy we was. And I really had a tough decision going into that following year because I was coaching girls at the time.
yeah.
And remember, Diener and Griff got into it, and Miss Erkins had to step in because Diener wanted me on his staff.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
Griff got pissed because he pulled that move over the summer and then tried to get me to come work with y'all during the school year.
Yeah.
And I was all like, oh man. And I remember Miss Erkins just told me, Riley, like, listen, you don't want to create the rift between them, you know, and cause a problem around the school. Stay with the girls. And that was the only reason I stayed with the girls, because Miss Erkins came to me and had that talk with me about that.
Yeah.
You know, and but if Miss Erkins didn't step in and give me that important advice, I probably would have left the girls and went over and been with y'all because of the success we had that summer.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't forget too, man. We used to try to find her like every weekend in the suburban.
Oh, you know it. You know it. I'm in Ray Kareem Suburban. We try.
Them was the days, boy.
Man, we had fun, man. Oh man, we had fun, man. Y'all dudes was a joy to be around, just the different personalities and allowing y'all to be y'all, man, and y'all being respectful of most things. We'd talk about everything, but it was still respectful. And I appreciated that. And I think that's why to this day, the mutual respect there, with us, and we still communicate and talk with each other, man. Like an uncle and a nephew supposed to, because of that respect. Y'all knew my heart was into y'all. I knew y'all heart was into me and respected me. It was a mutual thing.
Yeah, and I can't forget too, Riley was more than just a coach. I had his class, and Riley was a mentor, and Riley would put you on blast in class if you didn't do your work. You know what I'm saying?
I challenged y'all, man. It wasn't easy. I ain't giving no grades out.
Yeah,
that ain't how I operate.
You didn't play. You didn't play no games. I appreciate that too, You know what I'm saying? I really do appreciate that, man. I'm gonna tell you when it clicked in for me though. It's sad, but my junior year in college, when I went to a university, man, going to females, like, hey man, can you help me with this? Nope, do your own work. Nope, do your own work. I promise you, I ain't saying this, man. It clicked like, see, this is what Riley was fucking talking about, man. You gotta by yourself, you gotta focus and do the, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I appreciate that, man. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. You was more than the coach, you was the mentor, and you was our teacher. We had your class, and you didn't play no games, man. So when did Washington come about, Unc?
Man, like after I started AAU at Silver Spring, I started the Spartans AAU team because I came home from college and I just gave up on after a year. I started in 98. That year I started working at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center as the youth and activity specialist. And Bobby used to always tell me, he was getting really old at this time. He was telling me, man, you better than this. You better than this. Like, I shouldn't be here at Silver Spring. You better than this. He said, get into MPS if you want to make a difference. Get into MPS. And he used to always encourage me. And I said, okay. So I got into MPS. I think I did my first 2 years at Malcolm X. And then I left Malcolm X because and then I came over to Vincent. I got the girls' job, worked with the girls. And then I remember when Griff passed away, we thought we was about to take the program. I thought Kelly Connors was going to get the head coaching job. I would be the assistant, and Kirk would be the freshman coach, or Felicia, Jose's wife, would have been the freshman coach. But John Allen had a different plan, and at the time, me and John weren't necessarily on the same page. And our relationship have totally changed over the years. I've grown to respect John a lot, and our relationship have grown, and I really consider him an ally and a friend now. But back then, John had visions when Diener left that he wanted to go back coaching. But see, Diener was setting Marcus Hines up to come in and get the job for the boys. That's why the Mesmer boys transferred over to Vincent. So John, somehow, when Griff passed, it had to have been some behind the door conversation with Marcus. And John, as the AD, must have shared with Marcus, he gonna coach the boys. And Rick was gonna assist with him, and you could have a girl's job. And I guess Marcus was cool with that. And that's why I tell people a lot of times to this day, them girls teams Marcus was winning with, them was our girls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We was driving them girls up the Viking Club. I was, me personally, driving same with y'all, using Ray Perrine Suburban, driving up to UW Stout and Menominee, 4.5 hours from here on the tip of Wisconsin and Minnesota. And they was playing AAU for Viking Club. His daughter, we taking Griff daughter up there, taking the girls up there, and I did this for a couple of years. So, Marcus, you're welcome for preparing the girls, for you. But not to take nothing away from Marcus either. He's an excellent coach, man, and you see what he done. Because even though we prepared them still to come in and keep those girls focused and put together your rotations and all that, I'm not taking that away from Marcus. But I just want, people when they mention them teams, don't forget about who started training them girls. Who was getting them girls ready. Terry Stamps and them was freshmen. You know what I'm saying? They coming in and, and I know Terry give a lot of credit to Marcus, which she should, because she spent a little bit more time with Marcus, but we started you. You playing with Myosha Barnes and, Jody, Patricia Crumble, don't forget about them, Carrickle Lane and, Keisha and them, let's not forget some of them that we have had. But then Griff daughter and all them, we was taking them up the Viking Club. So when we didn't get the job, we all got together as a girl staff and said, we gonna leave. So we left. Me and Kelly went down to Malcolm X. She got the head coaching job down there with the girls. I was assisting with her. Kelly ended up leaving the following year and moving to Texas.
Yeah,
so they ended up giving me the girls' job there. And after that year, we moved into North Division. They closed down Malcolm X. And we ended up moving into North Division and changed the school name to African American Immersion.
Yep.
And at the time in the building, they made our school, it was like a multiplex of schools that was in that building. And they merged us and we became the North Division team. So at that time, Keith Stewart had the boys' job at North. And he invited me to come over on his staff to work with him. So I was assistant varsity coach with Keith Stewart and Buck.
Yeah.
Buck Ivy. And I thought it was a wonderful opportunity because Stu gave me my first chance to work with boys. So I always be grateful and appreciative for Stu doing that, giving me that chance to, work at the varsity level with boys. And it went from there to Diener got the job at Hamilton. And I remember me and Diener having a conversation. He took me out to eat and he told me he wanted me to come work with him at Hamilton. And he told me my role and what he expected from me. And once he broke that down to me, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? See, and I'm going to tell you this, people, man, a lot of people don't know Diener personally. So they go by what people say out. And Diener is a different type of dude. But to me, like, he know his shit. Let me just say it like that. He know his shit, man.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And he know how to win. And if you get that man some talent, he's going to win. You know what I'm saying? Diener is a Phil Jackson type of coach.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying this in him? Phil Jackson can't coach anybody.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson have to have a Kobe, a Shaq, a Jordan, a Pippen, a Rodman, a Kukoc. He got to have a Horry, a Derek Fisher. He got to have dudes who know what the hell they doing, man. And if you give him that, oh, he gonna put something on the court that they're gonna be championship contenders.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't just give him any player and expect Diener to develop guys.
Yeah.
That ain't what he do.
Yeah,
that ain't the type of coach he is, and people misunderstand that. Like Phil Jackson, he ain't that type dude. Look how he let Tex Winters come up with the triangle. That ain't Phil Lane. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's good at managing attitudes. He's good at managing, like that's
like your approach for the game, and
yeah.
he cold with preparing
Yes,
for
and
the
that's what
game.
Diener is. I
Mhm.
understood that. And I understood what my role would have been with him because at the time, I was doing what Thomas Shumpert is doing now. I'm doing what Lou Chapman do. I do what Chris McHenry do. I do what all these trainers do now. I was doing that back then. So Diener knew, let me grab Fred because he's going to train these dudes and be with them. And you know what I'm saying? And all I got to do is take that, manage it, put it together, get the rotation, the scheme, and we good.
Yep.
So when Diener sat me down and we had a talk, it was no brainer, man. I respected his genius. Dude is a genius, a freaking genius when I say this. Now, guys is a different type of coach. Guys could do the training, guys could do the manage, guys do a little bit of all that. You know what I'm saying? And that's where his, makes him special. Each one of these dudes is special in their own way, man. But Diener is a genius and he's special in what he do, and people don't understand that because they look at him snapping. A lot of times he only have an 8-man rotation. Sometimes 7. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that, but he got a star-studded roster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Diener could go 10 deep, 11 deep, but he won't do that. He gonna play 7, 8 dudes. Where remember in the summer, that's where I was different at. I'm playing everybody.
Yeah.
I'm playing all of y'all. And that's where I think where Diener probably wanted me to come and help because y'all bench would have been a little deeper than an 8-man rotation. It'd have been probably 10, 11 dudes we'd have been playing.
Yeah.
But I went over to Hamilton and we made a run at state. We went to state 2 years in a row. We went with Elgin and Charlie, and then we lost to Marquette. We should have won it. Oh man, that shit hurt her bad because I wanted that group of kids to win it.
Yeah.
They really earned the right to be state champions, man. And we lost to Marquette. And their team wasn't even strong then. We just had a bad game.
Yeah.
Darnell had a bad game. Chuck had a bad game. Elgin played solid. But they threw that bullshit 1-3-1 half-court press, and we just didn't do a good job of making the adjustments that was necessary for us to win. We made runs and made it close, but they eventually ended up winning that game. And that hurt me because I'm thinking like, okay, they sophomores. We'll be all right. We got their junior and senior year to win it. But now here come the prep schools. The prep school thing come on the scene. They snatch Elgin, they snatch Darnell, they snatch Charlie. So now our roster is kind of depleted. But now the Rebels got another group of freshmen coming in. You got Looney, you got Trey, which I love Trey Jefferson to death, man. Like,
love him.
Man, I love that dude so much. People don't even understand. I tell him he's my best little man out there, dude. Like, I love Trey Jefferson to death. And I hate what happened to his career, man, because that was a bad MF for real. That little MF was bad, man. Like when Allen Iverson say John Thompson used to call him a little shit, man, like Trey Jefferson was that little shit for real. I love that little dude. But then they had Jarrell DeBerry come in, David Burrell. I said, oh shit, we back on track. Diener had us going. We used to go look at them in 8th grade, to go to their practices and stuff. And I'm like, we about to be back on the map.
Yep.
So we had them come in, and we still had Haki there. We still had Kiwan there. Yep. We still had Octavian Belcher there. We still had some pieces there. And we ended up going to state Haki in them senior year, Looney freshman year. And we ended up losing upstate to Madison Memorial. And I hated that too because Haki, after he went through his little situation, Haki came in on fire his senior year. It was easily like Haki was easily one of the top 5, 6 seniors in the state. Like he was balling that much. Haki was putting up 30-point games, like 20 and 30-point games, easy. It wasn't even it became the game. A light clicked on, and games was easy for him. You know, he was just scoring, and we knew he had that in him. Even when he was playing with Chuck and Darnell and Elgin and them, that how he could score like that. But I think he was deferring to the greatness in Charlie, Elgin, and Darnell. You know, instead of understanding, like you got game too.
Yeah.
But we ended up losing there, and I remember we all sitting after we lost to Madison Memorial, and we kind of knew at that point the coaching staff was going to go in a different direction, because Diener kept telling me, Fred, you ready to be a head coach? And I'm playing the shit off like, no, I ain't, man. Stop, man. I'm here. I'm with you. I'm committed to you. That's one thing about me, man. If you give me a chance, and like my commitment to you is real. It's pure. Like I'm rolling with you. And that's how I was with Diener. But after a while, he kept forcing it on me, kept having a conversation telling me, like, you got a chance. You are a head coach. You ready? So I said, man, forget it. Let me see what's up, what's out there. So Tanya Adair was the principal at Washington. I worked with Tanya Adair at Malcolm X when she was a teacher, and then when she was an assistant principal. And I knew that Kenseth was talking about retiring. So I'm all like, wow, Washington, come on, man. You can't get better than that.
I'm already
The tradition, the legacy there, the history behind. I'm like, hold up. No. So she told me, put my application in. I put in my application. She called me for an interview. We interviewed. You know, I came ready, Q. Like, I got a 100-page binder, man. I still got the binder here to this day. I got a 100-page binder. Oh, yeah, you know I was dressed sharp. You know that. But I came in prepared with a 100-page binder. I came in there with my philosophy in that binder. I came in there with an academic plan for kids that were struggling academically. I came as far as tutoring and all that. I came in with a practice plan. I came in with the expectations of my coaches, parents, players. I came in with a workout program. I came in with a fundraising program. I came in with everything in that 100-page binder. Off-season workouts, summer camps, everything. I put some time to put this together. It took me 15 years. I've been building that, putting that binder together ever since I was with Griff, Keith Stewart, and Diener. I've been putting that stuff together because I've been around some great coaches. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm soaking in this greatness around me, these coaches. Most dudes ain't doing that as assistants. They come and showing up to practice, and I don't know what they do, and they leave. Me, it was totally different. If you plan to be a head coach, which at the time I was planning to do that, I just didn't know when.
When, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking after we win a couple of championships, when Diener retire, he hand the program over to me. That's what I was more thinking. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't think it was going to end up like that. But in the process, each summer, I'm putting together my binder. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I have to go apply for a job, I knew that was going to stamp me for that job, whatever job it would have been. So I applied for the Washington job. I interviewed for the Washington job. I applied for the Brown Deer job, interview for the Brown Deer job. They gave the job to Kelly Appleby. No problem. Me and Kel, real cool. And he done a phenomenal job at Brown Deer. You see, they won 2 state championships. So I ended up taking the job at Washington. And I never looked back. Never looked back.
Man, for me, because you coach me, and I seen what all the teams you've been on and stuff, man. And when I seen you get that Washington job, I'm gonna be honest, I said, damn, about time. Like, Riley been new as shit. Like, and I don't know how it'll go, but just hearing your journey of the coaching and to get gems and a Hall of Fame coach like Diener to tell you, like, Riley, you ready. Like, I'm pretty sure that had to make you feel good, man.
It did. It stamped me like I have arrived, because you know, Diener hard, man. You know that you played for him.
Yeah.
That's a hard dude to impress because he has seen it all, you know. So it was hard to impress him, and I impressed Diener. I impressed him. Like me and Diener got really tight. We still talk to this day. You know, we shoot texts and talk here and there to each other. Me, him, Randy Williams. You know, Coach Turntine still on my staff. We work together. But the staff from Hamilton, we still talk, whether it's through social media, phone calls, or you know, we sometimes we was even going out to eat, Bar Louie, go out have a drink or something. We get together. That's how much love we have for each other, man, and respect we have for each other. It was pure love with that coaching staff, and I hated it got busted up.
Yeah, it did. So, you go to Washington, man, and you got a lot of talent over there, man. A lot of talent. And
I didn't when I first got there.
Yeah.
I didn't. Like, when I first got there, it was 2011 and 12. Kenseth was trying to decide whether he was leaving or not. You know, every year he was pulling the Brett Favre with Miss Adair. And that was, you know, that was making her mad. She's like, when are you really going to retire? So what she did is she brought me in and she brought us on as co-head coaches. But me, my respect for Kenseth, I left him in the driver's seat. Here, legendary coach, I'm not doing that. You could give us that title as co-head coaches, but me, I came in and I had the respect for him like I did with Diener. And I said, I'm let him do the driver's seat, but I'm gonna do the work that I was doing with Diener. So we had DeAndre Harris Jr. We had Boo Boo at the point guard. Jamar McKay, which was a stud. You know, Mark was cold. Jadaric. Who else did we have? We had a pretty good team, man. We had a pretty good team, and I thought we was gonna do it that year because we planned at West Allis Central against Pius and against Carrington Love and Fitzgerald when they went to state that year because they had beat us to go to state. Man, we had that game won, man. We had that game won. And we ended up losing that game because, and I hate to say this, and I have never, ever, ever mentioned this before. Never, ever. But DeAndre Harris went away for the game plan. Instead of him playing to win, he played for points. And if he'd have stuck with the game plan, because we had Pius on the ropes, they was about to break, and we was going upstate. And in my mind, DeAndre, you had a chance to go upstate and really put on the show. But I guess at that time, he felt he had to put the show on right there. He didn't have to. We already had the game. Accept your 15 points and a victory, opposed to going for 30 and take the L.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you home as a senior. You need to go out with a bang going upstate. But I never had that talk with DeAndre. I never even mentioned it to the team, never mentioned it to the coaching staff, but I sat there in amazement. I mean, like, not in amazement, in awe, just like, dude, you really care more about your points than winning? That hurt me because I knew DeAndre was better than that. I know he cared about winning. I know he wanted to get to state. But that particular game, I don't know what happened where he was taking some of the shots he was taking, like, and it created momentum change, and Pius had the momentum. And we never gained the momentum back, and they finished to close this out. So that's when Kenseth retired after that year. And then I became my first year head coach, 2012-13. And I had Marvin Wynn Jr., who me and his dad is like best friends. Like, he like a brother to me. His son had transferred from Wisconsin Luther and came over to Washington. He became my point guard. I had Justice Hutnell. I had Jamar McKay, which was our star. We had Justice. He was where did Justice transfer from? I mean, Justin. Where did Justin transfer from? I can't even remember where he transferred from. But he was our principal right now, Miss Terry. She was like a guardian to him. She became like his mother. She had him like a foster. You know, it wasn't foster, but she was taking care of him. He played with us. We had Darville Hayes and them. We ended up winning the city conference that year.
Yeah.
We win the city conference. We win 11-1 in the city conference. And we end up losing to Wisconsin Lutheran in the sectionals, first round of the sectionals.
Okay.
And then we came back 2013, 14. I didn't have a good year because we lost all them good players, them seniors. And that was the year Michi Tillman, Nate Hubbard Cole,
Little Nate.
They was all babies though. They didn't know how to win. They didn't play no varsity. They ain't had no experience. But we practicing at 6 in the morning. You know, I got that from Diener. We practicing early in the morning.
Brutal, boy.
Doing that at Hamilton, practicing at 6 in the morning. And we got to really develop those guys. So 2014, 15, we took off. That's when it really started my years of winning. I think we went 11-1 in conference for like 4 or 5 years in the city. And we lost in the sectional again to Wisconsin Lutheran. Man, I was getting tired of them. Like they was in our way plenty of years, man. It was Wisconsin Lutheran. They ended up winning state that year with Flavion and them.
With Big Flag.
You know, Flav and them, they won state, they beat us. But man, I was getting tired of them. They got, man, they're popping us. And my whole thing was, I gotta get them. I want Wisconsin Lutheran. Wisconsin Lutheran and Pius stayed on my radar, man. Oh, I wanted them so bad, man. I tried to schedule them in non-conference games. Man, I hope we got matched up come playoff time. Man, I could never get them, man. They was dodging bullets. And this when Hall of Fame coach Coach Joel Klassen was coaching at Pius. I remember me and him got into it at a seed meeting. We yelling back and forth across at each other. And I told him, man, F this. Play me in a non-conference game. I don't care if it's at your place or mine. Oh, he cocky. You know, he a state champion. We going at it. And like, we literally arguing in a seating meeting. Me and him, back and forth. And the tone was set. He said he got cocky enough to accept that challenge. And we bust him. And that sent the message to, I guess, everybody else in that sectional. The Tulsa Easts, Tulsa Wests, the Pies, everybody who was in our sectional. Washington have arrived. Washington have arrived with Riley. So then I get Tijon. I get Tijon in them with Nikhil in them. And you know, we get popped D10 them freshman year. Whitefish Bay poppers. Because Shannon with the tripping. Shannon Sanford with the tripping. No. Let me change that up. Shannon Sanford or Jordan Densmore was having a pretty good game, and DT went to tripping. Either I can't remember for sure. Either DT was having a good game, and Shannon and then went to tripping on DT, or Shannon and them was having a good game, and DT went to tripping on them. Whitefish Bay ended up beating us because of that, because they tripping with each other.
Yeah.
So then after that, Shannon and them graduate out. And that year we was pretty good too, because you know we played Simeon that year. We traveled to Chicago and played Simeon. Simeon only beat us by 2. They only beat us by 2. Tijon and them was, man, we was on the verge of popping a nationally ranked team.
And that's what they had. Tyler, what's his name? He in the NBA name? Tyler Tucker or something?
No. That team was when they came and played us at Washington. The dude that played for Gonzaga that went to Simeon, the left-hander, the 6'5", 6'6" kid, he played in the NBA with the Lakers. They had him on that team that Tijon almost popped. And them two dudes from Simeon that played for UWM with Tijon.
I heard about that. Yeah.
They was on that team we almost popped. But that team from Simeon was loaded. They had like 9 Division I dudes on that team. They was loaded. We almost beat them in their backyard. They beat us by 2 points. 2 points. Man, we were so like pumped up, like, woo, Simeon skated. If it was 2 minutes or another minute on the clock, we popped them. We had all the momentum on our side. They was shook. A team from Milwaukee came down on their background and was not intimidated by them at all. So, listen, Coach Smith, that'll sit well with him. That'll sit well with him. He's scheduled to come to Washington the year after. Now, mind you, Simeon ain't never came to Milwaukee. Simeon ain't never played nobody here. We almost popping him. That'll sit well with him. He had to get us on the schedule again, but I told him he had to come to Washington. That's when they beat us. When they had D-Tay and Mike and them, they ended up beating us with a Horton Tucker that played for the Lakers.
Yeah, okay.
And then they had the little point guard that played at UTEP.
Yeah.
Little dude like Lil Iverson, getting money. They ended up beating us. But yeah, like it started to turn after 2013-14, 2014-15, 15-16. We was like running a conference. We was 11-1. You know, we would lose one game every year. Every year we was losing one game in conference. And then 2017 was the year we went 11-1 again. And we ended up going to state that year. That was our first trip upstate.
That's why I think I want to ask you about that. Is that the year y'all played Nicolay? Or no?
No. We played Nicolay in 19. So 2017, we beat Eisenhower, New Berlin Eisenhower at Brown Deer to go upstate. That was with Jalen Stephen Holmes, Tyree Ellis. D-Tay and them was freshmen.
Yeah.
It was freshmen that year. Jonte Martin, Ramon Blakely, you know, Jimmy Brown and them, Gerard Logan and all them dudes, they was all freshmen.
Yeah.
And we ended up losing upstate that year to guess who? Diener. We lost to Cedarburg.
Did. His son John
we lost to Cedarburg when he was coaching his son, John. Now, mind you this. We lose to Diener and them, I think, by what, 3? But John had 40. 40-something.
No, dog.
If John don't go for that 40-something, we blow them out the gym. Because they only beat us by 3. And mind you, in that game, John shot 25 free throws.
He did.
So imagine the calls that they was calling for one kid to shoot 25 free throws. Now, it was bittersweet. It was bitter because we lost to a team we should have beat. But it was sweet because we saw John growing up. He was at our practices at Hamilton. You see him, the work he was putting in to get better as a player. You know, it was sweet in the sense of it was good to see John have arrived. You know, all his hard work paid off.
Yeah,
I was happy for Coach D2. You know, they hyped it all up, the teacher versus the pupil, you know, going up upstate, we playing against each other. But, you know, deep down, I want to pop Diener. You know, I want to beat the teacher. You know how it always be. I want to get you, teacher, one time before you get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great game. Afterwards, it was all love. You know, I wish them luck, and I just thanked them for the opportunity, you know, to give me opportunity working with fellas, and told them if you ever need me for anything, just reach out to me, call me. You know, I'm always there for you. I love you.
Yeah.
And, we turned around 18. I knew once we went to state 17, I said, yeah, we going back 18 because I'm looking at our team we got. We was young. D-Tay and all them, John Ted, I'm like, we lose Jalen and Tyree. But we still got the core of our team still there.
Yep.
Oh, we going back to state. No problem. And we do. We go back to state because we get Kevin from Brown Deer. He transferred in, but Kevin Clemens. And we got Jordan Dinsmore. He came over from Whitefish Bay. So I'm all like, we gravy. You know what I'm saying? We right back upstate. So, and this was the year, DT junior year. Like, DT by far was the best player in the state. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That dude was the best player in the state. He was averaging almost 30. I think he was averaging like 28, 29 points a game. He was averaging like nine rebounds, 9 assists. Almost a triple double. He was putting up LeBron-like type stats. You know what I'm saying? And he went from playing power forward as a freshman to handling the guard responsibilities, where at the end of the game, DT was facilitating our offense. It wasn't Jordan Dinsmore. Jordan was on the floor, but DT had the ball in his hands, facilitating, making the plays for us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all like, man, we gravy. We get upstate. We, boom, beat La Crosse Central with Johnny Davis and them playing for the draft pick, playing with the Wisconsin. Now he with the Wizards.
Yeah.
We popped Johnny Davis in them, and they was good. You know, they was really good. And it's crazy how every year we had to face La Crosse Central to get to the championship. You know, we facing them. So we popped them. We get to the championship. We got to play Jordan McCabe and them, Kakana. Now, a lot of people don't know, huh?
He went to West Virginia, right?
West Virginia, ended up finishing up at UNLV.
UNLV, yeah.
A lot of people don't know the history behind that game, man. Everybody just think they beat us. Let me tell you what went on. DT, when we got up there, you had people so racist. They had signs calling them jailbirds, saying racial slurs up there at the time. And, you know, we telling our ADs and principal, you know, this is what's going on. The WIA is letting this go on. Like, they know that ain't appropriate. You know, where's the sportsmanship? You know, and they giving DT the business, man, and I was so pissed. But it was really nothing I could do but just share it with my administration and let them take matters up with the WIAA. At this time, I didn't know. I found out later. The president of the WIAA is from Kakana. Yeah. So that went on. And before we even get to the game, let me tell you what they did, because you know DT was on the bracelet, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
So before the game, somebody called our hotel. No, it was actually his PO called the hotel and said that DT had to be taken back to Milwaukee. And if he don't come back right now, he's going to get arrested. So, man, our mind is off the game at that point. And we talking about we got a couple hours before we play.
Yeah.
But our mind is off the game as coaches and trying to think about how we going to get this kid back home before something happens. Can you imagine where his mind at as a player?
I was just about to say, the kids and his
mind ain't thinking nothing about that game.
No basketball. Man. Yeah.
Nothing about that game.
Mm-hmm.
So we put DT in the car with Keon, one of our assistant coaches.
Yeah.
They down the road heading back to Milwaukee. I don't know how far they got before they got we got a phone call from the same person telling us that don't worry about it, he's okay. We'll just have him check in on Monday. Don't worry about it, he's fine. So DT have to turn around and come back. And now he got to play in that game. That dude mind wasn't thinking nothing about no basketball, man.
Even when y'all hit the U-turn, even when, you know what I'm saying, he still ain't thinking about it.
Man, ain't thinking nothing about
He thinking about Monday.
Man. Like, DT was gone, man. He was gone. I applaud the young man to try to fight through it and play through the game and all that, but that's a game changer right there. That's a game changer. So we still had a game one against Kakana. I got the videotape. I constantly go back and be watching this tape. It's 1 minute and 5 seconds left. We up 5 points with the ball. We doing a spread.
The red
spread, and we got Mike Foster at high post. All we got to do is run the clock out and make them foul us. You see on the tape clearly as day, the dude tackled Mike Foster on the floor, Jordan McCabe. It's on the tape. You see it clear as day in the middle of the floor at the free throw line. You got 3 refs on the floor. Nobody see that. They call that foul, Jordan McCabe, that's his 5th. He out the game. So the 3-pointer that Jordan McCabe hit, the game-winning layup he scored, they don't, and then that 3-point pass that he made to do to hit the 3, them 8 points ain't even on the board if they call that foul on Jordan.
Yeah, he get fouled out, yeah.
And he get fouled out. They don't call the foul. It changed the complexion of the game. So now my players are, they lost focus because they know that's a foul. Jonte goes to the bucket. No, DT went to actually, Jonte went first. It was an and one. They didn't call it. They called a foul, wiped Jonte basket off, made him go to the free throw line. But you see clear as day on the tape, it was an and one. DT goes to the basket. The dude, clear as day, the Ivy boy, fouls him. It's an and one. They don't blow the whistle at all. So count them points. We really up on them. You know what I'm saying? So then now this was the one that really hurt us. Jordan got the ball, Dinsmore, and granted, he did a phenomenal job the whole game, handling the pressure of Kakana. Just keep the ball moving, Jordan. Keep the ball moving. He didn't score like he normally score, and he trying to get his little points. Jordan one of them cerebral dudes. He real smart. Jordan like, okay, if I hold the ball, they gonna foul me. I get to the free throw line, I get my free throws. You know what I'm saying? So now my points add up. That kind of backfired, Jordan, because the refs wasn't calling nothing. You seen they just tackled Mike and didn't call nothing. So you see it on the tape. Yeah, Jordan McCabe fouled the shit out of Jordan Dinsmore, but they didn't call it. Jordan loses the ball. Jordan McCabe and them go down, hit a big-time 3. He came off the screen, pulls up right in front of their bench. That was a game changer because we went from being up 5 to now they up 3 off them 2 plays. And we end up losing that game, I think, by 2 or 3 points. And it was just devastating us because you think out of 17, 18, and 19, if it was excuse me, any year we were supposed to be state champs. 2018, we were supposed to be state champs, not Kakana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now we really pissed. We are heated, scorching hot. I mean, like white charcoal hot. You know what I'm saying? Like we winning this next year. And we like, ain't nobody in our weight, Division II. We wasn't thinking about Nicolay. All they had was, and they ain't had no winning year. All they had was sibling there. We ain't thinking about nobody. We thinking our biggest challenge is Lacrosse Central again. You know what I'm saying? But that'd be upstate. We'd probably have to play each other for the championship game. So here go, and they ain't gonna never admit this, but I ain't no fool, man. I ain't no dummy. I know that Tony played a role in Jalen Johnson and his brother Kobe coming down and going to Nicolay. I know he played a role in that. Tony got mad at a coach on my staff, and that created some bad blood between Washington and Tony. And Jalen them makes the jump, come down to Nicolay. And I mean, the word was going around that they play AAU together. He wanted to play with his teammate and all that. Okay, that's to make it sound good. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been playing together. He could have played with him any other time. Why he just coming down now? You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, and I love the Johnson family. I still talk to Rod to this day. We still talking all that, but facts is facts. You know, Rod never sold a house up there. Rod never retired from his job up there. And WIA rules, if transferred, the family have to move down.
Live in that district, right? Or something.
That didn't happen, man. Remember, it hit the news about, it came out later after they went to college and all that, you know, but that wasn't fair to us because 2018, that was our other championship. We should have won it back to back. We should have beat Kana. And then why would a kid who just went to the state tournament with Sun Prairie transfer down and go to Nicolay to play? You just went to the state tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Ain't no reason to come down. And let me say this, his dad played in the city conference at Marshall.
Marshall, yeah.
And we stacked at Washington. Why wouldn't your kids come play in the city where we stacked at, where your son would have turned it out with D-Tay, Mike, Kobe, Trey White? Can you imagine that team? Kobe, Trey White, D-Tay, Mike Foster, Jalen Johnson. That's the starting five. We run the table in the city. We don't lose a game that year.
Now, let me ask you this, Coach, because now I'm older now. I done been upstate twice. Do you think you got that? Let me make sure I said the right thing. Black coach with talent goes upstate and they don't want to see you win.
Because
that's how I looked at it with BINDER.
The talk have always been that down here in the city.
Yeah.
It has never not been discussed. Even me being as an assistant growing up, me being a player growing up, and me now being the head coach. It have always been a knock on, they don't want city teams up there. They don't want African-American coaches up there. That have always been the topic of discussion since I have always known it.
Okay.
What I have come to realization about is this is how the WIA is. They're about money. They're business. You know, they got salaries up there that people been having, working, pensions, all that they got to pay. So the state tournament is a big thing for them. They renting out the Kohl Center. They got to pay for that big facility. That ain't cheap. They got apparel that they have to sell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got businesses they promise to make money if you let us hold this tournament here. It's a business, man. So you want teams up there that's going to travel heavy, who's going to bring their whole town out. So they could sell out with tickets to crowd, so they could sell out apparel, sell out concessions, and businesses when they go to eat at night or lunch before they come to the state tournament, taking care of the whole city of Madison. I can't have no team come up there that have a great team and really should be a state championship team, but they only got 200 followers. Everybody choose to stay home and watch that game on TV in Milwaukee, opposed to getting in their car and getting behind this team and come up here and support them. Like when we was growing up, we had the whole city of Milwaukee would come up here and support our team. So it was good back then. They didn't mind us coming in because we would, you know, bring them, you know, the big crowds and they can make but money. As you look, as time have grown and passed, you know, schools not bringing, you got great teams, but they're not bringing the city out with them to support them. So, yeah, man, it's easy to look at it and say it could be a racial thing, but I think it's more of a business thing that we looking at that's really stopping us. And our people here, when they say they get behind us, man, go ahead and get in that car, make that hour drive. It ain't nothing but a quarter tank of gas.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't saying you got to go eat at the restaurants or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Buy your ticket after the game, go back home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I only asked you that because now correct me if I'm wrong, back when we went upstate junior, senior year, I feel like we had a lot of people behind us upstate.
Absolutely. I was sitting in the nosebleeds because I couldn't get no seat down down there to watch.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
back then, we kids, we worried about playing upstate and, all that type of stuff. But now that I'm older, I asked that because you got Tom Diener, who's white, taking a group of talented black kids upstate. And, nobody noticed, just like you watched the tape. I remember us playing West Matthews junior year. They called 10-5. They was in a double bonus with 7 minutes left. It's only 8-minute quarters. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know,
As far as the officiating
yeah,
perspective.
officiating, or do you like the city conference thing, like you said? Like,
It's tough, man. And, I got to kind of watch what I say because I'm still coaching.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest when I'm saying what I'm saying because that's what I believe. We have coaches, we have officials who, just think in the past, they have never got the ref no WIA game. That was not even, they was not given that chance at all. They would always go everywhere else around the state, northern Wisconsin, wherever they was going, eastern, western Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin officials really wasn't getting that nod unless they were from the suburban conferences.
Yep.
But far as city conference officials and African-American officials, they wasn't getting that opportunity. So the WIA created this ranking for officials, which allowed coaches to rank officials. And they would say those coaches, those officials who have these rankings, these supreme rankings, those who the WIA would select to officiate the state tournament games because they want the best officials on their game. Now, this is the kick. In a city conference, you have African-American coaches coaching in the city. You have African-American officials refereeing in the city. These same coaches and referees see each other outside of sports over the summer, whether if it's at, social events, they see each other in the mall, shopping mall, whatever, food market, wherever, they see each other. Milwaukee is small. People know everybody. You 1-2 people away from knowing everybody. So you don't have the best relationships between these coaches and officials. And the funny thing about it is when it comes to the game now, the officials go in on these coaches. It's their time because they control the whistle. They can throw the coach out of the game, give them text, call fouls on players. They control the game. When you go to the games, you see it. I just got a technical week before last because a dude, I'm arguing my point to an official, but he want to put his stamp on, I should know who he is. And I get it. You control the game. You telling me I'm out the box. I look down. I'm not even out the box. The coach's box. And he yelling at, telling me, don't yell at me. Okay, that should be reciprocated. We both grown men here. Yeah. I'm actually older than you. So don't ask me not to do something you're not doing yourself. He yelling at me in front of the whole crowd and people tripping because he telling me don't yell at him, which I really wasn't. But he yelling at me because I told him he was wrong on the call. And I can show you clear as day on the tape where he was wrong, nephew. He called the call and he was on the other half of the court. He wasn't even over half yet. And he called the call. But I didn't say nothing about that call. But the same call happened again in the second half. And he was supposed to make that call for us. And he gonna turn around and tell me, I can't make that call. I'm out of position. I said, man, it's the same call. You was out of position in the first half. Exactly. Coach, you out of your box. I said, I had to look down to see if I was out of the box first before I get the court off. And I looked down, I'm like, I'm not out the box. I said, I'm not even out the box. I said, but you blew that whistle the first half and made that call. Coach, don't you yell at me. I said, I'm not yelling at you. Don't you yell at me. I said, and what? Burp, tech, because I said, and what? So you have this thing with officials that they have these personal things with coaches in a conference. So now these coaches at the end have to evaluate these officials. And the city conference coaches, they get so mad at times, they don't do the rankings. They don't do no evaluations for the officials. So now these officials are mad that they not getting their rankings to be able to go officiate the state tournament game, and they upset at the coaches because they not getting the rankings, and they officiate a lot of the city conference games. And when it come down to it, the WIA probably telling them, we don't have any rankings for you. And they know who games they ranking, and they know what coaches coach them games. Coach them teams. So you have that dynamic going on, man, that to where, a lot of the African-American officials don't want to do our conference. And some coaches feel like maybe it's best they don't, because over the summer, they let these kids beat each other up, out at AAU, and they don't call them calls, but then now conference start, and you calling calls that you weren't calling, that you allowed them to get away with it. So players arguing, coaches argue, and it's a mess out there.
Yeah.
So these African-American officials join an alliance where they getting games out in the suburbs. The suburban coaches are doing the rankings. So they are getting good rankings. So that's why you see some African-American officials doing state tournament games, because they not getting the rankings from the city, they getting it from doing it out in the suburban conference.
Yeah.
But I don't think we don't mind doing the ranking, but all we ask for is a fair shake, man. You can't allow these kids in Tone Kiro, NY to LA tournaments, go out to Waukesha and what do they call that out there? Where they be playing AAU games at?
I'm an old head. You remember it was called Epic Center when I was playing.
Yeah, it's called something else out there in Waukesha now, where they play the AAU games. And these kids, you allowing them just beat each other up. You're not calling them calls, but now they see you, the same official, doing a high school game, and you call it tic-tac calls. And it's hard to respect that type of officiating, and we see it because as coaches, we come over the summer, support our kids, come to their games. We shake it up with the refs. How you doing, man? You doing good? Can't wait to see you this year, man. Man, give me a break this year when you're coaching our game. You know what I'm saying? We talk to them, and everything be copacetic. But then when the season start, it's a whole different, it's a whole different situation. And I think that's the situation we dealing with, that dynamic, where you do see African-American coaches getting to the state tournament now, and they're not getting them because of the rankings from the city conference, because the relationship with the officials and the city conference and coaches are not at its best.
Yeah, I agree. Dang, man, I always want to know that, especially this new day and age, man. Sheesh. But
yeah, it's tough.
All right, so man, couple things before I let you go. I want to thank you again, taking time out your day to come to the Barcode podcast, dog. You really dropping the gems. You my homie, you my mentor, you my man. And I'm just really super, geek and proud of you. You know what I'm saying? The things you did just overall with coaching, being a mentor, and the things you've been doing at Washington, man. So I just had to let you know that, man. I love you. So I know you're an OG. So I'm like I said, I got a couple more things, man. I'm about to name 10 players, right?
Okay.
But I'm about to pair them up.
Okay.
And I want you to pick, man. You know what I'm saying?
So this is always hard. This is always hard, nephew. This is always hard.
Hey, you know what? Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving?
Oh, man. See, Kyrie got a championship. And I know LeBron is a major reason in that, you know, because Kyrie haven't won a championship after that, and he been paired with some star-studded talent. But he do have a ring, and he hit a big-time shot in that game. Dame don't have no rings. But then you look on the flip side, Dame is carrying the crap out of that Portland organization.
Yes.
In a tough Western Conference. Oh, my goodness. I think I'm gonna have to go with Kyrie though, because he's a champion.
Okay, you're gonna go with Kyrie. Now, this one is interesting right here. To me, it's always interesting, even though this is gonna be forever a debate. Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
Listen, you can never take the son over the father. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's the originator.
Yeah.
Is the originator. You got a clone copy of Jordan. And I mean, it's a damn good clone copy too in Kobe Bryant.
You
know what I'm saying? The Mamba is for real. I'm gonna have to say Michael Jordan, man. I don't want to take nothing away from Kobe because, man, Kobe is special. But when you do everything like another player and nothing was originally yours, it's hard to say I'm gonna pick you over that player. You know, and to me, Mike get that nod because Kobe imitates everything Mike did. And Mike is the originator. So I have to go with, and it ain't just because Mike got rings and 6 rings and he undefeated in the finals. And no, it's just the fact he's the originator. He's the dude who set that tone first, and Kobe chose to review film and mimic everything Mike do, from his moves on the court to how he chew, he walk, you know, everything is like Mike.
Yeah.
What is original besides the Black Mamba? Jordan wore 9, Kobe went number low, 8. Jordan wore 23, Kobe went a number higher, 24. You know what I'm saying? Everything is based upon circling and centered around Michael Jordan. Where's Kobe Bryant? And the only thing that I can think of that's Kobe owned, that he have original that's his, is Mamba.
Yeah. And the nappy fro.
And the nappy fro. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, next one. Now, you know, I'll be following you. I follow you on Facebook. So this one,
you already know the answer then.
LeBron or KD? Man, I think I know the answer, but KD, he's something else. You know, LeBron, my favorite, man. But I want to hear you, OG. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this again. Like, people knock LeBron for going to Miami. They knock him for going to LA and saying he had to get with dudes to win. I ain't never heard nobody knock KD for going to Golden State.
Yeah.
You just got beat when you was up 3-1 to these dudes. And you go join an alliance with these dudes. And I get it. You was like out in the front, the major dude, but you was able to do what you do because you got 2 snipers. Of course, if I double KD, I'm about to get rockabye baby by these 2 snipers on the wing. And KD was smart enough to figure that out. Man, I got Clay and Steph. They bet not double me. So he got a lot of one-on-one action. And that's why his numbers was what it was. There was never no pressure on KD to do anything outside of score at Golden State. Draymond was the defender. You had Livingston. You had Andre Iguodala, who won the Finals MVP. You know, you had Clay, Steph, and then come on. When you look at LeBron, everywhere he went, he had to be that dude. He had to be that dude, and if he don't play, they lose.
Period. Yeah.
They lose. And when they do lose, they still blame him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then look, Katie, you had a perfect situation. and you choose to lose it because you wasn't mentally tough, because a player get on you and say certain things to you. You wasn't mentally tough, but you used them to get you some rings so you don't go down in history as being this prolific scorer that couldn't win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where LeBron was a winner wherever he went with the pressure on him. He went back and won Cleveland their first championship without Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, because they said he'd never win one without Wade and Chris Bosh. So then he went to Cleveland and won. They're going to say, well, he with Kyrie and Kevin Love. Last time I checked, neither one of them done nothing in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
They wasn't no champion. When Kyrie was there, they had 3 straight lottery picks as the #1 picks in Cleveland. They wasn't doing nothing. Kevin Love, you was all right in Minnesota by yourself, but y'all wasn't doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So LeBron made them champions.
Yeah.
You go to LA. AD was putting numbers up, balling for New Orleans, but he had to, wasn't nothing else there. You got your chip being with LeBron.
Yeah.
And look, since he been thrusted into being the man, because LeBron in his 20th year, you can't stay healthy. And you hurting the team, because like how Dwayne Wade was able to step back and let the young thoroughbred come in, LeBron can't step back and let the young thoroughbred AD take over.
Yeah.
AD's supposed to be carrying that team. But we got to ask a dude in his 20th year to carry a team.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I look at KD. KD, you got paired with James Harden and Kyrie. You can't win. You lost, and Giannis and got one on your watch.
Yes.
Look how many dudes getting rings on KD watch. They talking about everybody win on LeBron watch. Shoot, they winning on KD watch too.
Yeah. I think I know your answer now.
You know? So, no, man, it's the king, obviously, man.
My dog. All right. Next one. You funny for that too. You got off, dog. KG or Tim Duncan?
Ooh, that's so hard, man, because I love KG, man.
My dog, man.
Ooh, I love KG to death because his passion, the ferociousness he played with, the emotion and the defense and all that. But man, one thing about that dude, Tim Duncan.
Oh, man.
And oh, I hate to do this, man, to KD, because I love him, man. But I gotta go Tim Duncan, man.
Okay.
It hurt my soul to say that because I love KG, man. I love him to death. But at the end of the day, you can't knock Timmy for what he's doing, man. You can't knock Timmy. Timmy is legit. He bona fide. He stamped.
He stamped, boy. Woo-wee. All right, last one. Come on now, man. I think you've been doing a good job picking. I'm liking it. I ain't too mad. But this last one right here, dog. Come on now. Q-Bar or the kid from Sheboygan North that bust my ass in Summer League.
Sheboygan North. You
remember we walked past and you said, Q, there he is. You gonna take him out to eat? Who you taking? That guy or Q-Bar, man?
Hey, Q, listen. And I'm gonna say this. Just because the dude might get you one game, that don't mean he's better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That don't mean he's better than you. He just had a good game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like I said, what you bring to the table, you got a tool bag, man. And you got every tool in there that any team need at any particular time at any point of the game. Everybody ain't got that.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't got that. So yeah, every dog have his day where anybody could go off and get some buckets on you. You know what I'm saying? The greatest, well, let me rephrase that. The second greatest, let Allen Iverson cross him over and have a moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every dog have his day, man. Like, you know, and yeah, he might have caught fire that day. I don't know. Maybe your legs was gone from being up late, you know, partying. I don't know. You maybe your focus was gone. You worried about your grades or I don't know, but your mental wasn't there for that particular game.
I know.
Yeah, he got you once, but that don't mean he better than you.
Yeah.
I mean, I had dudes get me once, but that don't mean they better than me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So no, he got you. He got you one game, but no, I'm taking Q Bar all day long.
Yeah, my dog. Man, he was busting my ass, Riley. Jesus Christ.
It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody, Q. Listen, hey, listen, I was in practice, a freshman, Matt Woodley, and you guys, you'll Clinton this. And I was having a bad day, man. It just was a bad day for me. I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to do nothing. I was off that shit. A freshman, Matt Woodley, wanted to play. I was in his way. He knew if I have a bad day of practice or I'm struggling, he can get some playing time. So I had a bad practice. We doing you got to get 3 stops and out. You know, like running shell drill, and you got to stop the offense 3 times and out. Man, listen, I looked up at the clock. We've been in there 81 possessions. Matt Woodley was tearing a hole at me that day at practice. Tearing a hole at me. And he just a hard-nosed, you know, very fundamentally sound white kid that got a high IQ for the game. You know, he coached at Drake. It was coach at I think the G League with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Matt Woodley is legit, but he can't hold my jock strap. You know what I'm saying? By far. You take his best day and take my best day, by far. No comparison. But that day, Matt Woodley was giving me the business. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be 3 possessions and out. I look up at the clock. I'm in there 81 possessions. That dude was roasting me. And every player on our team was letting me know about it. And the coach let me know the next game when we played. He sat me down and played Matt Woodley over me. I said, okay, I see now. I don't get no passes. I don't get no pass. I got to be sharp every day. So ever since that point when Matt Woodley embarrassed me that day in practice, I was at his head every day. I knew I couldn't have no off days. So I'm pretty sure if you was to play dude again and again and again, oh, you at him. You at him. Everybody just had that day, man.
Yeah. All right, last question. If the advice that you want to give these young kids in this new generation,
man, it's so much to address, and you got to pull back so many layers when it comes to this generation of kids, because they lacking so much. And the other part of that is they not receptive to taking in advice. The kids nowadays are into sugarcoating you. They being politically correct. They want to tell you what you want to hear, but not necessarily what they're willing to do. I'm not into that. I'm one of them coaches. I'm a throwback old school coach. Don't BS me in my face and tell me I'm going to do this and do that, and I'm going to be ready the next year, and then you come back, your habits even worse than when you left me. And I think that's the biggest problem we have with a lot of our kids nowadays, man, is that, you know, they not listening. Like how I was saying, Bob, Mark Wade, Darryl Banks, Will Wade, Coach Jones, Vic Barnett, I listen to them dudes, man. These kids have them same type of role models in their face now talking to them, but they not listening to us. You know, it's more about what you can give them than just the advice. The advice is priceless. And the advice you can carry with you a lifetime. These shoes, jogging suits, paying a cell phone bill, I wasn't grown up around that. And I ain't into coddling kids. That's not what I'm about. And I'm about giving you the real and challenging you to step outside of your comfort zone to be the best you could be. That's the type of coach I am. So I'm going to make you very uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, when somebody else gets you, you're going to be ready. You know what I'm saying? But the kid have to allow me to do my job to help prepare them for that next level. And part of that too is parents got to take a step back. It's too much babying going on with our African-American males. You know, they not getting all these chances out here in the world. And if they got a positive African-American male in their face that can steer them in the right direction, Mom, let us do our job. Dad, let us do our job. Let us make it hard for that kid. So by the time they grow up to be men of their own, take their place where they rightfully belong on that throne as a king, they able to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So my thing is so many ways that you can address this. But the biggest part to me is them being receptive to the advice that we giving them and trusting it. And when I say that, it ain't everybody always giving the best advice, because like I said, once again, I got to go buy you some shoes to tell you the right thing. I got to pay a cell phone bill to tell you the right thing. You know, I got to buy you. I'm not doing that, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not picking you up and taking you to practice every day and dropping you off and you half-assing and BSing. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind picking a kid up and dropping him off if this dude is 100% in. I mean, you see at practice, this dude ain't making no excuses. He going hard. You know, you riding him and he ain't arguing back. He just taking it and he going to work. I don't mind working for that kid. But it's too much babying going on, man. It's too much coddling going on. And that's allowing our young males not to receive the message from us. So when they talking about young men and the OGs, that bridge between us have been burnt. So that's why you got so many young boys out here lost, doing some of the craziest stuff, because that bridge is burnt. That's allowing us to connect with each other, man. The bridge is burnt. And it ain't like the help and the support is not there. It's just that they're not receiving it.
Yeah.
And I just wish that the young men received it, because our young men out here be in a better situation than what they are right now, man. And I'm talking about not just high school, you go all the way down to elementary. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dean of students and vice principal right now in my second year in administration. And I did 23 years in the classroom. I'm 25 years in this field of education. And I've worked with so many young men, and I have been able to have a positive influence on so many. But then there have been some that slipped through the crack. And the ones, and I'm talking about, I've dealt with some of the worst. You know, I'm just keeping it 100. You know, dudes come to me, grade point shot, you know, getting out of jail, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Homeless, parents kicked them out. And we've been able to turn these kids around, man, and get them off to college. And they ain't necessarily had to finish, but we got them to that doorstep to where they got in, where if they choose to go the extra 9, they could, or some have finished. But more importantly, they became good men to their community and their families.
Yeah.
And that's what we trying to do here. You know, and we not allowed to have that type of impact on these young men right now. And I think that's a major loss in our community right now. You know, that our young men is missing that. And I wish we could get that back. And I mean, like I said, the resources are out there. You know, it's just that the kids don't care to get it. They're not caring. They listening to all this other mess, this crazy stuff. You know, man, come on. We ain't never had no stealing cars, you know, epidemic like we having in our city. You know, you robbing, you know, women, and come on, some of this stuff is ridiculous, man. Shooting people senselessly, you know, like some of this stuff is ridiculous, man. Where kids and women not safe.
Yeah.
So that's totally unacceptable from no angle. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, at all, man. Excuse me, but no, man, I appreciate that, man. I hope all the kids that are tuned in watching this, or even the young men, like just, you know, listening, you know, to your words, your wisdom and stuff, and we just got to get better, you know what I'm saying? You know, of course around the world, but in our city of Milwaukee, we got to get better, you know what I'm saying? So you just can, you know, to continue being, you know, the great mentor that you are, great, wonderful coach, brother, uncle, you know, you name it. And man, like I said again earlier, I appreciate you coming to the Barcode podcast, man. We really chopped it up. I enjoyed it. I was laser focused listening, and man, I learned a lot about you, man. And I didn't know that. I got 6 sisters, no brothers, and you got what, 3 sisters? So yeah, that's dope,
I
man.
got 2 half brothers, but
Oh, okay.
I wasn't raised with them. They was
Oh,
raised down south. My dad went down south and had 2 more kids. And
oh,
I developed a relationship with them once we got older. I was in I think my 30s, late 30s, and my brother Mikhail played at the University of Alabama.
okay.
And my other brother Don, he was playing at a JUCO. I remember how the conversation went when I first got connected with my brother. It was the SEC tournament, and Kentucky was playing Alabama. And remember the Georgia Dome, the roof ceiling had caved in, and they had to cancel the game because the roof had fell in. My brother had just popped a 3 from the corner for Alabama right before the roof had caved in. And he's 6'6", and my other brother Don is 6'5", and I was all like, I didn't catch none of that height. But I also tell him, I always let him know though, big brother was colder than both of y'all. Yeah,
Yeah.
the big brother got through, would have gave y'all the business though. But
Yeah.
it's sort of like the Michael Jordan and Larry Jordan night. They say Larry was a bad dude,
Yeah.
and used to whoop on Mike. I wish I'd had the opportunity, to whoop on my brothers, but I tell them I love them, and my brother's still playing right now. Both of them over in France right now. Mikhail probably been over there for over 12 years. Got a long career over there. I think Don probably like in his 5th, 6th year over there. They doing really well, man, playing international ball.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's dope, man. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate you coming to the Barcode podcast. We done chopped it up. I appreciate you so much, man. I'm out, baby.
Hey, man, I love you, Q. I love you to death, man. I think you know that. And my door is always open to you. And I'm so proud of you, man, and the man that you have become. I know there has been obstacles for you to get to this point, but God have his way of working through us to make greatness happen for us. And I see your greatness is starting to shine, man. And
Yeah.
I'm praying for you and wishing you all luck in the world. I hope this become the national podcast where you could get guys at celebrity status to come on and be part of your podcast. I think it's very important. And I'm just praying for you, man. You deserve the best, man. I love you, nephew.
Man, thank you. I love you too. That mean a lot to me, man. Done the real. So yeah, we out, all right.
Okay.
All right.